See if you can get the probably Tudenne. See if you can get the Bayern PSG game on. We got double Champions League action today. I got Bayern on the money line and Chelsea on the money line against Porto. A lot of the soccer heads are telling me I shouldn't have bet on Bayern today, and they did lose the first leg 3-2 in Munich against PSG last week. That's actually why I'm feeling bullish on Bayern to win the game. I'm not really expecting Bayern to advance because PSG scoring 3 away goals in the first leg was just massive. I mean, a 3-2 win on the road with 3 away goals is huge. So Bayern, are likely going to have to win this game by multiple goals to advance, or if they can win 3-2, or if they can, then you'll go to extra time and then try to get another goal or win in penalties. But giving up 3 away goals in the first leg was massive. But I don't know. I feel good about Bayern. Even if they don't advance, I feel good about them winning by a goal today in the return leg against PSG. So I stuck with it. I could have changed my mind and cashed out and gone with PSG instead, but I'm all in on Bayern, and I'm all in on Chelsea to get a win on the money line in the second leg against Porto. Bayern PSG, the far more interesting of those two games. So we're going to keep it here. We got it on the television now here in the studio. So yeah, you guys can of course get us live here on Onside Radio. You can go to our website, do it the traditional way, onsideradio.com. You can listen to us live on a number of different free mobile apps. The apps are great because you can take us on the go. You can take us even in the car. And if you have Bluetooth in your car, you can blast us through the speakers, which is awesome. I was listening on the Radio FM app on the way up today. The MyTuner radio app also works great. Radio.net works good. Simple Radio is an awesome app. We're inevitable. We are unavoidable. I mean, if you have basically almost any mobile app that plays radio, we're probably on there. And if you're able, are we streaming yet live, Tito, on YouTube?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. If you're able, if you're stationary somewhere, if you're at work and you're a corporate time stealing weasel, or if you're at home and you can fire up the YouTube feed, you can actually watch us. You can see my beautiful face. I'm back in studio today. Or you can, you can just listen through there and you can chat. The live chat feature on YouTube is awesome. I'm going to be logging in there once we hit our first commercial break, because I like to chat with you guys as well. And we've been doing the video streaming for about 6 weeks now, and every single day, topics from the YouTube chat turn into topics on the show. So we're very interactive with it. We are welcoming Tito Benach back to studio today. He was on. He's a man's man. He's a mountain man. I heard you were staying in log cabins, Tito. You were living a very manly life.
I was. I did 3 trails, so I'm officially a park ranger. I had to make fires. I had to kill a rabbit, eat it. So
seriously?
No. I wish. But
I don't think I've ever eaten rabbit before.
Neither have I. Don't plan on it.
Yeah, I feel a little bit weird. Are they rodents? Like they're kind of rodent adjacent.
Well, I know people eat them though.
They do, but still, I'm not down on it.
Like people eat like ants and stuff, and that's weird.
I think I'd probably eat ant before I would eat rabbit. Is that weird? Chocolate covered ants? They do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mariners, their stadium does something like that, right?
They do grasshoppers.
Oh,
yeah.
My mistake. Close.
All right, so you got to tell me, you're in North Carolina for about a week. Did you have the best freaking barbecue of your life up there?
I did not. I really did not. Yeah, I wanted to. I mean, well, look, my brother made a nice pulled pork, and it was serviceable. But I was surrounded by my 2 nephews the whole week, and I wasn't a lot of time to make it out to the quality barbecue establishments. But I'm going up there soon again, and hopefully I can get some revenge for that.
Like, was your cabin in the middle of nowhere? Like, was it way out from civilization?
Yeah, so it's roughly 45 minutes from Asheville.
Oh, okay.
So
I know that area a little bit. I had this was a lot. I haven't been up there in 14 years. I think 2007 was the last time I was up there, because I was dating somebody whose father moved there, and he had basically a cabin like on a mountain somewhere near Asheville. I think it was a little bit closer to actual Asheville than where you were, because I don't think it took that long to get to town. But I remember this was driving me crazy. And again, this was like 2007, so it may have changed since then. I got no cell service up there, Tito. Like, I can remember this in
Yep.
in '07. I got no cell service
Yep.
up there, which for me is like torture. Like, I need to be connected.
Right. Like I need to check in what's going on with the Twitter world,
Right.
And I was not able to do that. So.
Oh, that blows. Like, I mean, I don't know. You know what? It might be liberating because I know a couple of people who make an effort to occasionally just go off the grid. Like take a few days and just don't even look at your messages, don't look at your phone, and just kind of go off. Like I know people who have left Facebook. That's actually a thing. Although, you know what? It doesn't really. I got on Facebook. I don't check it. So what does that mean? It doesn't count for anything. But I know people have actually removed their profiles from all forms of social media. They tell me it's very liberating. So all right, we've got liberated Tito back in the building, and I'm very happy to have Tito back, especially on a Tuesday, because my friends, it's going to be Terrible Take Tuesday this hour. In the 3 p.m. hour, we're going to have our Terrible Take Tuesday segment coming up. By the way, I know people were asking me yesterday about how I was feeling because yesterday morning I got my first Pfizer dose, my first vaccine. I got to tell you, day 2, like I had the night, woke up today, I feel great. Like I feel fine. In fact, I actually feel a little bit lucky because I don't even have the sore arm that people talk about because, I know a number of different people who have gotten vaccinated. Again, I've only had the first shot, so sometimes people get the side effects from the second one, not the first one. So I don't know what to expect from the second one. But pretty much everyone has told me that the arm soreness is pretty severe after, either or both of the shots. And I have zero arm soreness, my friends. I feel energetic. I actually only had 2 coffees so far today when I would usually have had 3 of them by the time the show started. So I'm actually even more energetic than usual. No arm soreness whatsoever. I'm not quite yet immune to COVID-19. I'm getting closer. But I think I am immune to side effects. Tito, the power of a positive attitude. What's going on? Speaking of a positive attitude, I think our guy Victor Oladipo needs a little bit more about that. So what do you gather is the issue here? Because from what we understand, our friends at 5 Reasons Sports reported the other night that his MRI revealed no structural damage. So there's nothing structurally wrong with his right knee. And I know that was the same right knee that he had a very severe injury to a couple of years ago, and he's being careful with it. But, the x-rays that he had after the Lakers game when he came up hurt, the MRI was negative. It showed no structural damage. And yet we're not sure if he's going to play again this year because he's being cautious with it. I don't know. This is the same Victor Oladipo that after being acquired missed the first couple of games for a head cold, and now you're telling me that he's got no damage to the knee and he may not suit up and play again this year. I'm glad that this is a post-trade deadline rental, okay? Here's where I'm at, Tito. Victor Oladipo, when he's 100%, tremendous player. And I would love to have 100% Oladipo on my Miami Heat moving forward. That if you could tell me I'm getting 100% Depot, you can sign me up for 4 more years of that, okay? Like, you can sign me up for a long-term deal. But, and listen, I know he had the trauma in 2019 of a very serious injury, but if you're telling me this is a guy that I can't count on to play, even when, he got a little bit of a scare. He had a little pain in his right knee, but there's nothing wrong with it. Like, there's no structural damage, but he's a little bit worried about re-injuring it. Like, Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald said that, just to be clear, it's more than a pain management issue, that he's, like, worried about re-injuring the knee, but it doesn't sound to me like medically there's really any evidence that he's going to re-injure it. And now there's a possibility he's not going to play again this year. I don't know, Tito, maybe you look at this a different way, but after everything from the head cold now to this, I'm really not sure if committing to Victor Oladipo long term, even if you can get like a good financial deal, because they're not going to give him the max, but I don't think I want to commit to Oladipo long term.
Yeah, from what my understanding is, this is kind of both the Heat and Oladipo wagering on is it smart to even play you again, right? Like, is it smart? Like, where are we in terms of, like, your health? Because is it riskier to put you back on the court so that you get injured again and then you're in an even worse injury? Or is this a situation where we can put you on ice till the last week of the season, get you revved up then again, and then we enter the playoffs with you potentially, at least at 75%? I'm with you. I think.
And see, like, just as a quick side note, even to that idea, I don't like that because he's only had, 3 games to actually play with these teammates. Like,
right.
If you then just relaunch him right before the playoffs, he's not going to have any rapport with his teammates. And he was still learning how to play within Spoelstra's system. So now you're taking that out of the equation. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, I think, if we're looking at, Oladipo's injury history, his knees and his lower body have been the area of most affected. I'm looking through it right now. From 2017, he's had a bruised right knee, sore right knee, a sore right foot, and then it's knee injury, knee injury, quad, calf, eye, and then rest, and then quad, foot, quad, and then it's the knee injury again, the most recent one.
Wow.
I'm like you.
He's the Devontae Parker of basketball.
Right, and it's a shame because it's such a unfair, card that he's dealt, because when he's at his full strength, he is a tremendous athlete. He makes the Heat a legitimate top 3 team in the East. I believe that in my core. But, when it comes to contract negotiations that enter this summer, I don't see how the Heat can offer him anything more than a 1-and-1, right?
Yeah.
Like hey, this is a 1-year prove-it deal with an option attached that you can make a player option, basically, or a team option for that matter, and allow him to increase his own value, right? It's hey, look, we're going to give you a 1-and-1. You go out, you ball out, you do what you're supposed to do. Guess what? That 2022 offseason, you're going to be potentially a max player, or at the very least, an improved value, right? I just don't think there's any way. I think if you're the Heat, this you have to tread lightly here, because there's no real reason to rush him, right? Like, what would be the gain in rushing him back?
I mean, trying to secure the 4 seed, trying to establish his identity within the Miami Heat, because you don't really know what that. I mean, he actually, in the Lakers game when he got quote unquote hurt, like he was actually playing really well. Like that was we finally saw Oladipo attacking the rim, getting to the free throw line, not just settling for Jays, which they don't need Oladipo to do that. Like the Heat have plenty of shooters that can settle for jumpers. They need Oladipo to attack to the basket. We finally saw him doing that. And then he's getting worried about his knee, and he leaves the game, and he may never play again. Like I don't know, man. I don't like this. Texter writes in, is Oladipo a con artist? The moment the Heat picked up his contract, he went lame again. Oh man, we're gonna kick off Terrible Take Tuesday. Tito, this may be the first time we've ever done it like this. I think I'm gonna have to make Terrible Take Tuesday a 2-segment event, okay? Because
wow,
one of these takes is so bad, and it involves our Miami Dolphins, and so I don't think it would be fair to lump this in with all the others, because we like to go rapid fire with some of the terrible takes and like spend 2 minutes on it, move on to something else. We have this one take that's so bad, I'm going to have to devote an entire segment to it. So we'll get to that one at around 3:35. We're going to have plenty, though, of terrible takes, a smorgasbord of terrible takes when we return. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans. Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental disorder that requires a comprehensive approach to treatment. Learn more at moretoadhd.com. This message brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Big football story yesterday was the retirement of Julian Edelman, and at least two of the terrible takes on Terrible Take Tuesday have been inspired by things that were said about Julian Edelman after he announced his retirement yesterday. He just couldn't take the punishment anymore, and I get it. I mean, being, an undersized wide receiver, it can certainly take a toll on your body after a while. So we have a ton to get to, my friends. Let's saddle up for another episode of Terrible Take Tuesday.
There's always one idiot with a platform.
How stupid are you?
You're a moron!
Anybody can say anything these days. This is Terrible Take Tuesday.
Hey, pal. You just blowing from Stupid Town?
So let me just quickly go, before we play some audio from the king of Terrible Take Tuesday, Colin Cowherd, let me just quickly address a bad take that's been going around on Edelman. So Julian Edelman's retirement has a bunch of people who do not understand the historical context of the National Football League and what it takes to be a Hall of Famer. You have a lot of people saying, oh, yeah, Julian Edelman, that's a Hall of Famer. That's a first ballot guy. That's a Hall of Famer. So, and too many people have been saying that to single anyone out, right? I mean, when we do Terrible Take Tuesday, we like to single people out when appropriate for bad takes, but too many people are saying Edelman is a Hall of Famer for me to possibly single them out. Julian Edelman, in 11 seasons with the Pats, 620 catches, 6,822 yards, 36 touchdowns. That works out to career averages of 56.4 catches per year for 621 yards, 3.3 touchdowns per season. Those are not Hall of Fame numbers, folks. And by the way, Julian Edelman, you may not realize this, he never made the Pro Bowl. Never made the Pro Bowl once in his career. And we're talking about being a Hall of Famer. So remember the numbers that I just gave you from Julian Edelman. Do you know who's not in the Hall of Fame? Torrey Holt. Do you remember him? Here are Torrey Holt's numbers playing wide receiver in the NFL, and apparently he's not a Hall of Famer. So remember what I just told you about Edelman. Torrey Holt's career numbers, 920 catches for 13,382 yards and 74 touchdowns. And that guy's not in the Hall of Fame, so you can't tell me that Julian Edelman is, okay? So that's a terrible take. Our guy Colin Cowherd from Fox Sports 1 took a bad Julian Edelman take even further. Now Cowherd is comparing Edelman to Megatron. Listen to this.
Context. Calvin Johnson is a Hall of Famer and should be. Great player. But he retired early because he didn't play in games that mattered.
Oh, my God.
And he was tired of allowing his body to get beaten up.
Oh.
He only has 730 total catches, half of Jerry Rice. Calvin Johnson was so frustrated with his career, he had many good years left. He goes, I'm not playing in games that matter. Edelman conversely played until his body fell apart. If you ask Calvin Johnson today if he would trade places with Julian Edelman, damn right he would.
I can't co-sign on that. You know...
I like how you say it begrudgingly. Like it's like, oh man, this is a tough opinion.
It's just, my God, dude. The thing is, I'm at a loss for words. Like I can't, like, Tito. I've had people, when you talk about trading careers, you know, listen. I'm sure Calvin Johnson is jealous of Edelman's success, winning multiple Super Bowls, because he got to be, you know, a passenger on the Tom Brady freight train. So there's no doubt in my mind that Calvin Johnson, I'm sure, is jealous of Julian Edelman's success because he wanted to win Super Bowls the way that Edelman did. But you can't tell me that Calvin Johnson, who worked his ass off to be as good as he was, you know, regardless of who he was playing for and who he was playing with, you can't tell me he would trade that in for Julian Edelman's output and his No, it's like people have tried to tell me that Dan Marino would trade his career for Trent Dilfer so he could have gotten a ring. It's absolutely asinine. And yes, Calvin Johnson, rightfully a Hall of Famer. Julian Edelman never will be. And, you know, listen, Calvin would have loved to have won a Super Bowl or 2 or 3 like Edelman did, but he's not trading in his career for Julian Edelman's. I'm sorry. Cowherd does it again. Our guy Marsh. Now, this is not his take. He submitted this to us. Marsh from 4th and 20 submitted me a tweet from some jackass saying that Julian Edelman is and was better than Reggie Wayne. Okay, hold on. Okay. Let me give you guys a reference here. Reggie Wayne's career had over 14,000 receiving yards compared to Edelman's 6,800. Reggie Wayne, 82 touchdown receptions to Edelman's 36 career touchdowns. Need I go on, or do you realize how asinine that is? Is and was better than Reggie Wayne. Oh, Christ. This is ridiculous. You know, Bill Simmons had an odd take. So, Tito, I don't know if you're an avid golf watcher.
Oh, man, I know what you're about to say. I saw this. This is... Oof.
So this is weird. So Hideki Matsuyama became the first Japanese golfer to win the Masters. And that's, you know, Jim Nantz was on the call of the Masters, as he always is. And that's basically, you know, his call. Like, Jim Nantz's call was Hideki Matsuyama, the first Japanese golfer to win the Masters. Short, sweet, to the point. Bill Simmons had a weird take when he was talking with Kevin Clark of The Ringer. Quote, this is Bill Simmons. We were hoping for one of his classic pre-baked one-liners when Matsuyama won the Masters. I think he was scared off, said Simmons of Jim Nantz. He felt nervous to me the last 20 minutes. Cancel culture, he said. I don't think Nantz wanted to go near anything. He kept kind of throwing it to Faldo, and then when Matsuyama hit first of all, he missed the par putt. He had the little 2-footer coming back and made it. He wins. And then Nantz basically said, Hideki Matsuyama, the first Japanese golfer to win the Masters. I've never heard him put less thought, energy, creativity, anything into one of his calls, and it was a scared Jim Nantz, let's be honest. So Bill Simmons is saying basically that Jim, because he went on to talk more about it, like Asian stuff. Like Bill Simmons, Tito, thought Jim Nantz was afraid to make quirky Asian references about Matsuyama because he didn't want to be canceled by cancel culture.
Yeah.
That's a little half-baked. So basically, Bill Simmons is saying that, like, Jim Nantz was, jonesing to make some, like, culturally insensitive references, but held back because of why would you assume that? Like, why would you assume that Jim Nantz was, like, itching to say distasteful things about Asians? Like, so I don't know why you would make that leap, like as if Jim Nantz had all these jokes, like, about Japan in his mind. He's like, I can't use any of these because cancel culture is going to get me. That seems absurd to me. And Tito, you guys know, like, I hate cancel culture, but how can I make the leap that that was what was going through Jim Nantz's brain? He's like, I better not really say anything here because if I say anything culturally insensitive, like, why would you assume he even has culturally insensitive things running through his mind that he might say? I thought that was that was extremely odd, to say the least. All right.
I've always kind of had this, like, theory that, like, Bill Simmons will go on his podcast and, like, you can say his guest can say legitimately anything. Like, his guest could say, like, we need to hoard the pasta because if we don't hoard the pasta, aliens are going to come down and they are going to take all of our mailboxes. And Bill Simmons will be like, right, totally. You're so right. I've been saying this for years. So, it makes no...
Dude,
like,
you know what? Let me give you an example of that. You're so freaking right. So, I listen sometimes to the Rewatchables. Do you ever listen to that? Which is a really good...
I did until he... I think he did, like, Speed 2 again, and I was like, I can't do this again.
No, but, like, I remember, for example, like, I've listened to... I listened to a few episodes of the Rewatchables, like, about movies that I really love. Like, I listened to the episode that they did about The Karate Kid and the one that they did about Back to the Future. But I distinctly remember, so it was the one that they did about Back to the Future was so bad, the episode, because of Bill Simmons. So he was doing the episode with Ryan Russillo. And, like, Tito, they both clearly had, like, the same notes that they were going over to make points about the movie. And exactly what you're saying, like, Ryan Russillo made two very distinctive points. Bill Simmons was not listening to a single word he said because he went back and made the exact same points that Russillo made as if he was saying it for the first time.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, I think his podcast is in his own mind, right? Like he's just doing the podcast with two other versions of himself.
So another terrible, odd take, if anything. So, Tito, I got my first dose of Pfizer yesterday, and I wrote a tweet just like thanking Walgreens for making it very easy because they weren't overcrowded, they weren't overbooked. I was in and out of there. Well, I mean, in and out of there in about 20 minutes because they make you sit for 15 minutes just to make sure you don't pass out or something, and I didn't. I felt fine. But the whole ordeal to get my shot and to have the post-shot period, the whole thing took me 20 minutes, so it was fantastic, and I tweeted like a thank you to Walgreens. And I kid you not, Tito, no less than 3 people were sliding into my DMs telling me anything that ranged from, you made a terrible mistake, this is going to kill you, that the government is trying to basically pull a Thanos and, like, eliminate 50% of the population. I got a little bit of that. I had a couple people telling me about how these are the globalists, like the Illuminati, how they want to create a world of the haves and have-nots where, and by the way, there may be a little bit of truth to part of this, like with vaccine passports, like, hey, this is just going to become now the world is going to be the people who have the vaccine passports are going to be able to go to the sporting events and the concerts and go out to restaurants, and the people who don't have the vaccine won't be able to do that. Okay, so let me humor this for a second. Even if that's true, that sounds kind of awesome. Like, even if, so what you're telling me is, bro, they're the globalists, so Alex Jones here, I'm going to tell you about the globalists out there. They want to take away your freedoms. The government, they want to track you. Well, if they want to track me, they can easily do that through my iPhone that I take with me every single place that I go. Okay, so that's not that difficult. They don't need to inject me to track me. That's already a pretty easy base to cover. So even if they're trying to do this thing to create this world of inequality where only us vaccinated people will be able to do things, then okay, I want to be one of those people. I mean, I'm sorry for those of you who don't want to get it. I'm sorry, but if you're telling me that, because like, who am I to fight the globalists? Okay, so even if I were to buy into what you're telling me, who am I to stand up to the Bill Gateses and, the Joe Bidens of the world that are running things? Like, the George Soroses? Who am I to stand up to these people? So I'm sorry that you have your tinfoil hat on, and this is also very concerning to you. But listen, it sucks. But if what you're saying is correct, and they're now creating this world where if I want to enjoy my life again, I have to get poked in the arm, I'm willing to do that. I'm sorry.
It's like every day, Mr. President, Alex Donno says he doesn't want to take the vaccine. What do we do? What do we do? And Mr. President stops and he says, I'm sorry, what? He goes, yeah, Alex Donno is saying he doesn't want to take the vaccine. Oh my, okay. Halt everything. Stop it. Stop. I'm calling an emergency press conference right now.
I'm not that important. I can't stop the globalists. I can't fight them, man. If you guys want to get in, 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Yeah, Tito, we've already covered so much ground with the Edelman stuff and everything else. Did you have anything else you wanted to add in for a terrible take? We still have a big Dolphins one on the other side, too.
I do not. I came ill-prepared for terrible take Tuesday.
Well, you were the one who brought the coward.
I just happened to scroll across my timeline and Colin doing it again. But, yeah.
Ridiculous Dolphins take. We got to air that out. Terrible Take Tuesday continues when we come back. Speaking of the Dolphins, hey, Miami Dolphins fans can join us for OnSideRadio.com's NFL Draft Party at Sports Grill in Miami at 11481. That's 11481 Southwest 40th Street, Bird Road. Join Big O and myself for this 2-night event starting on Thursday, April 29th at 7:30 p.m. and Friday, that'll be day 2 at 6:30 p.m. Drink and food specials, giveaways, the best damn draft party in South Florida. Join us for a 2-night event as OnSideRadio.com and Sports Grill in Bird Road bring you the best NFL draft party on the planet.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra. OnSideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
The sport is headed in a direction where it's going to die because the fan base is dying. It's people my age or older that follow baseball. And we're dying. And so they're not getting any of the new fans. Young fans, the whole sport is all screwed up, dude. From the cheating scandals to the way they mismanage it, by the way it has not gone and changed with modern times. The fact that baseball players are so freaking ignorant that they don't understand that they've got to market their own game. The wussiest thing in the world is you hit a home run on me, so now I'm going to plunk you. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnSideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Currently in Champions League, both matches knotted up at 0-0. PSG, Bayern taking on one side of the Champions League bracket. The other side, Chelsea and Porto, both those matches knotted up at 0-0. Marlins getting the victory yesterday over the Braves, 5-3. Garrett Cooper with the RBI to give the Marlins the win in the 10th inning. Game 2 is tonight. Pablo Lopez on the mound. First pitch is set for 7:20 p.m. Miami Heat also back in action. They take on the Phoenix Suns, who are in the second game of a back-to-back after beating the Houston Rockets. Tip-off is slated for 10 p.m. Suns going as the betting favorite. And Florida Panthers looking for revenge tonight against the Dallas Stars. Stars beat the Panthers on Saturday 4-1. That game, puck drop, is slated for 8:30. Through Onside Sports Update, I'm Tito Bonacci. Coming up next, it's more of the man of the match with Alex Donno right here, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Just broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Oh my God, this is getting crazy, dude. PSG Bayern is absolutely freaking lit. So Bayern just took the 1-0 lead. Just kind of a disgusting rebound header. Like, this is, not the type of goal that's going to hit too many highlight reels, but it counts. And like Tito, and you and I both bet Bayern on the money line, and this game is far from over. I'm not going to count my winnings.
Did you take those bets separately, or did you parlay them? Because I parlayed them.
I took them separately.
Oh man, I did not read your text correctly.
I didn't have the balls to parlay them. No, you parlayed them.
I did. That's what I interpreted your text message as. Oh, man, this is either going to end in pure misery for me or excellent jubilation.
No, I did separate bets. I have Bayern on the money line against PSG and Chelsea on the money line against Porto. I did not have the balls.
Hey, we're up one. We're up one right now. So, we took this bet because our good friend and host Kai Chen Chisholm, big Bayern Munich supporter, by spitting all his Bayern Munich propaganda, he finally convinced us. So
no, and still though, even though Bayern is up 1-0 in the 41st minute, I still think PSG is going to win this game. Like Tito, they have been putting on an absolute show. Neymar has been wilding. Okay, so Neymar, like in the last 10 minutes, he's hit 2 posts. Okay, at one point he had this sick trick dribble. He broke some dude's ankles. And then he chips it. It would have been like, a goal of the month candidate had he scored, but it went off the crossbar. You'd said it to me during the break that if it had been a half foot lower, it would have been a goal. If it had been like 3 inches lower, it probably would have bounced off the bottom of the post in. Like it was so close. So, to me, PSG are outplaying Bayern, but Bayern do have the 1-0 lead now. But still, PSG have looked so dangerous that I don't know, man. I'm happy the Bayern lead, but we let Kai Chen Chisholm talk us into to Bayern on that. Now Kai is actually thinking, another big chance for PSG in the box. Oh God, just make it stop. Oh, that was like an inch wide of the post.
This is water torture, man.
PSG's gonna win this game 4-1. They're gonna win this game 4-1.
No. Just get to the half, Bayern. That's all you got to do. Get to the half and then play another 45 minutes of flawless soccer.
They've got free. It's not even fair to have Neymar the way he's playing back, Mbappe out there. It's like it's not even fair to have a lineup like this. And then they can bring on Moise Kean off the bench in the second half if they want to. I don't know what I was thinking betting Bayern. I'm flirting with disaster here. PSG looks really, really good. Bayern at this point just have to hold on, try to get a cheap goal to go up 2-0. But our guy Kai is actually, he seems, I don't know if he's just saying it because he loves Bayern so much, but he actually seems kind of bullish on Bayern advancing. I think Bayern could win this game, Tito, but I don't think they're going through. I mean, they lost. The first leg was in Munich, and they lost 3-2, which means they gave up 3 away goals, and we know how big that is in Champions League ties. So I'm not expecting Bayern to go through, even if they might get like a 1-0 or a 2-1 win here today, but I don't think they're going to do enough to actually get through. I wouldn't mind seeing it, though. So I mentioned a terrible, terrible Miami Dolphins take. Is Mel Kiper drinking on the job? Did you see what Mel Kiper put out in his latest mock draft? So for those of you keeping score, most of our listeners follow the Miami Dolphins pretty closely, all right? You know that the Dolphins, within the last 2 weeks, have traded down from number 3 to number 12, and they traded back up to number 6. Mel Kiper Jr., in his latest mock, he thinks the Dolphins are completely clueless. So Kiper has projected the Dolphins to trade back up to number 4. He's got them trading back up to number 4 overall in order to draft tight end Kyle Pitts. Now, you guys know how I feel about Kyle Pitts. That's the guy that I covet most. Like, I want to see Pitts become a Miami Dolphin, but I don't want it badly enough that I think the Dolphins should make another trade and go up 2 spots to get him. It's absolutely absurd. So Kyle Krabs kind of put some of the notes out here on how this would factor in, in the big picture. Kiper projected the Dolphins to surrender the 2022 second and third round choice to move up 2 spots from number 6 to number 4 overall and secure Pitts. If Miami were going to be that aggressive to land Pitts, would they not have just sat at number 3 and taken him there? Thank you. If they thought, hey, we're going to have to be in the top 4 to draft Kyle Pitts, they were already in the top 4. Why not just stay there and draft the guy if you don't think he's going to be there at number 6 and you want him that badly? Because the whole appeal of a trade back is to pick up extra draft capital. So Miami secured future first-round picks in 2022 and 2023 to trade from number 3 to number 12. And then in the subsequent move back up to number 6, that cost the Dolphins ground in this year's draft order. They moved a 4th-round pick and returned a 5th-round pick from Philadelphia, plus a 2022 first-round choice. So in Kiper's eyes, the Dolphins would have moved back 1 spot in the draft order when it was all said and done, and all they'd have to show for it would be a later pick at their disposal on day 3 of this year's draft and a 2022 second-round choice being converted into a 2023 first-round choice. So effectively nothing. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the Miami Dolphins to make all those moves to then get back up to number 4. Kiper's take is absolutely absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. Basically, he would have Chris Greer becoming a real-life version of Sonny Weaver Jr. from draft day, because those were the types of moves that Sonny Weaver was making in the movie. Doesn't make any sense to me. That's a terrible take. That truly is a terrible take here on Terrible Take Tuesday. And at the end of the day, the 2 biggest points here that you can make are, like Kyle Krabs said, if the Dolphins that badly knew they needed to be in the top 4 to draft Kyle Pitts, they would have just stayed there in the first place. They wouldn't have done all this maneuvering to really gain nothing by going back up to number 4. And the other thing is, okay, the Dolphins have the luxury here of being a team with a high draft pick who don't want to take a quarterback. So you're going to get one of the 2 or 3 best non-quarterbacks in this draft, okay? Because quarterbacks are definitely going 1, 2, and 3. I can't guarantee you number 4, but quarterbacks are definitely going 1, 2, and 3. So the Dolphins are going to get one of the best 2 or 3 non-quarterbacks in this draft. And for as good as I think Kyle Pitts is, I'm not going to lose a whole lot of sleep on draft night if he goes number 4 or number 5, and you end up, having to take Jamar Chase or even Jalen Waddle at number 6. I could live with that. I could absolutely live with that. I don't think the Dolphins need to do this many somersaults to draft Kyle Pitts when they could have just stayed at number 3 to get him in the first place. Now, I don't know your take on this, Tito. I haven't spoken to you about the Dolphins in a long time because you'd been out for a little bit. I am of the growing opinion that Pitts is not going to make it to number 6. I just think there's now too much buzz and too much hype. I feel like the secret is out, right? About a month ago, it kind of felt like Kyle Pitts was the best kept secret, that, hey, we're going to be able to get a steal here with this guy falling to us. I don't know. I think that I look at a team like Atlanta, who I don't expect to draft a quarterback because of the situation with Matt Ryan's contract. I think they're going to look elsewhere. We've heard Penei Sewell linked to them. We've heard maybe a trade down linked to them. But if they really do keep the number 4 pick and they're debating between Penei Sewell and Kyle Pitts, they might just say, hey, one of these guys looks like a future Hall of Famer, and I'm not quite sure about the other guy. It seems hard to pass up Kyle Pitts because he's so uniquely talented. And the same thing with Cincinnati. Like, I know there's a lot of buzz linking Cincinnati to either Sewell or, to Jamar Chase, because Chase played with Joe Burrow. But still, like, you could argue that the more valuable guy at his position or any position is Kyle Pitts. So I have a hard time expecting him to drop to number 6.
I think you're basically saying that if the Dolphins want Pitts, because I think there's going to be one of Pitts or Chase. I don't think there's a realistic scenario where both are gone. I just don't. I don't see that. I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that Atlanta doesn't want to trade it for. I think they want to trade back, and I think as we always say, QBs tend to slide up the board. We know Denver is a team that has kind of flirted with the idea of trading up to go get a QB. Obviously, I think Drew Lock leading the league in interceptions last year was not nearly enough for them to kind of solidly say that he's their guy. So I can see them as a Justin Fields, buyer at 4 potentially in a trade with Atlanta. I also think if you're Atlanta, I get the idea of drafting Pitts and then making your offense, an absolute nightmare in terms of Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Kyle Pitts. But their issues are not offensively. Their issues are defense.
Yes.
So if you're there at 4, I don't see a guy on the board that screams, hey, this guy makes you a contender this year, right? So that's why I think Atlanta will trade back with a team that's QB hungry, and I think that's the way the Dolphins, can get Pitts or Chase. I don't see also, as much as Jamar Chase makes sense with the Bengals, man, Joe Burrow is just too important for that team.
You got to protect him.
You got to protect him. They set records for the amount of times he got hit. And with his injury, you cannot look at him in the face and say, hey, Joe, we decided to get you a second-tier offensive lineman versus possibly one of the most generational offensive linemen that's going to come through this draft, right? Even if Joe Burrow is slamming the table saying, Jamar Chase, you got to do what's best for the team and not what Joe Burrow wants his old weapon from LSU. So I think there's more than plausible chance that both Pitts and Chase will be there at 6.
When we come back, I found an NBA player who's even softer than Victor Oladipo. We'll explain when we return. Hey, start your morning every day at 8 a.m. with Toast. Toast covers all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. Download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast 4th and 20, 8 to 10 a.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
to serve, to treat,
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits with skilled surgeons,
advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and Ginger. Captain and Ginger. He was a captain and Ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Every Thursday, NBA fans can catch one of the best basketball shows in the country when Ethan Skolnick and Ira Winderman host Inside the Paint. Listen to two of the most knowledgeable and connected reporters in the business. Get year-round insight every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. with Inside the Paint on the home for hardcore basketball fans. OnSideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Big news, Miami fans! Body Armor is proud to be the new official sports drink of Major League Soccer and Inter Miami CF. It doesn't matter if you're a player or a fan, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Whether you're at home or in the starting lineup, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you from kickoff to the final whistle. Body Armor, now the official sports drink of Inter Miami CF, available at your local Publix.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, I did, in the first segment, I ripped a little bit our guy Victor Oladipo, who may not play again this season for an imaginary knee injury, because he's worried about an old injury, even though x-rays are negative, MRI negative. He may not want to play again this season. There is an NBA player, at least one, I'm sure there are plenty, who are way softer than Oladipo. Actually, there's multiple, because I would also say that Kevin Durant is way softer than Oladipo. This seems to be a Brooklyn Nets-related problem. Tito, Kyrie Irving is taking more personal time off. So that is this the third time this year that Kyrie Irving is taking time away from the Nets for quote-unquote personal reasons? Here's the thing that I don't like about it, okay? Now, listen, if the guy, I know it's easy for us to look at multi-millionaire athletes and assume, hey, because you have so much money that everything is right in the world. I get it. There can be mental issues. Like I don't know what kind of therapy he has. I don't know if he has some sort of a condition that hasn't been made public. if something like that emerges, I can respect it. But he's taken multiple personal stints away from the team this year, and he still gets to collect his full $33.5 million salary. There's something not right about that to me, that you can just leave your teammates, your brothers, your coworkers high and dry whenever you feel like it. And you can get away with it because you're Kyrie Irving. If you're the 11th guy off the bench, you can't get away with something like that. You take time away for personal reasons, that's not going to be tolerated. But you're Kyrie Irving, you can get away with it because they need him in the playoffs if they want to win an NBA title. But it's a slap in the face when, it's one thing for a player to miss a game because he's hurt or he thinks he's hurt. But for a player for the third time this year, to just step away and take time off because he doesn't feel like he's in a good mental state to play a game, and he still gets to collect his full $33.5 million salary. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm really not. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. When we come back, we're going to talk a little hockey with George Richards from FloridaHockeyNow.com. I think the Panthers are going to get a big win tonight. I think they're going to win by 3 or 4 goals this evening against Dallas. Frustration from a 3-game losing streak. You've got Anthony Duclair back in the lineup tonight. We'll see if George Richards agrees with me. We'll be back here on Onside Radio. Hey, every Saturday at 11 a.m., soccer fans can connect with Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio. From the Premiership to the MLS, catch up with your favorite team, including our very own Inter Miami CF. Listen to Red Card Radio every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with Austin Robillard exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Toast.
Sony is upsetting PlayStation owners in a bizarre story. MLB The Show, the long-running baseball video game, will finally appear on the Xbox platform. Sony claims this wasn't their call, but Major League Baseball's decision to switch platforms to open them up to new gamers. Switching platforms isn't a big deal, but what has really pissed off PlayStation owners is that MLB The Show will be available to Xbox Game Pass members for free, while PlayStation owners will have to pay $70 for the title. PlayStation has an equivalent to the Xbox Game Pass. It's called PlayStation Plus, but they've never made MLB The Show available only to PlayStation Plus members over the years. You had to buy the game, and that's what has a legion of PlayStation owners cursing out Sony today. Happy gaming.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, we're going to connect here in a second with George Richards from FloridaHockeyNow.com. Talk a little Florida Panthers. Hoping for a revenge game. Payback game tonight against the Dallas Stars. They beat the Panthers 4-1 a couple of nights ago. I'm thinking a nice 4-1, 5-2 win for the Cats would be just what the doctor ordered this evening, man. We appreciate everyone listening. We're with you for another 2 hours here till 6 o'clock. It's going to be a really busy 4 o'clock hour because we have George Richards coming up in a second. We're going to talk some Heat basketball with Alex Toledo from 5 Reasons Sports around 4:20. In a couple minutes, Tito is going to give way for Alex Aguirre, who's going to take over in the hot seat. So let's bring on our good pal, George Richards, does an awesome job covering the Florida Panthers and the NHL for FloridaHockeyNow.com. Georgie, good afternoon. How you doing, man?
Hey, Donno. What's going on, bud?
I'm doing very, very well. And, George, the Panthers are on a losing skid here. They lost, I think, 4-1 to Dallas the other night. They get a chance at payback this evening. I don't know, something. Anthony Duclair is back this evening, and I just feel like this is going to be a good chance for payback. I'm expecting the Florida Panthers to get a little revenge tonight and get a big victory. How are you feeling about tonight's game?
Yeah, they've had a couple days off, and they weren't feeling too good about how they played on Saturday. And yeah, like you said, they've got Duclair coming back, so you've got the Panthers' top line of Duclair, Barkov, and Verhaeghe back together, and Joel Quenneville's mixing some things up. He'd been running 7 defensemen. Now they're back to the traditional 12 forward, 6 defensemen. So maybe they'll get some, rolling out a couple lines and see what they can do. But yeah, why not?
Yeah, the Panthers, they made plenty of moves, George, before the trade deadline, and that also included a signing of Gusev. How do you feel the Panthers did, George? Have the Panthers gotten better with the moves that they've made over the last several days?
Well, they're definitely deeper than they were. We're going to find out exactly, what they got in the coming weeks. And it's going to probably take some time for these guys to get in there and adjust and everything. We'll see 2 of the new guys Thursday in Tampa. And I think Joel Quenneville, is going to give everybody a chance to play. But, they've definitely helped themselves. They didn't, get the headline guys, but I think that, between the scouting that the Panthers did, they feel like the guys they did sign and trade for are going to fit in well here. And they're going to get an opportunity that maybe they didn't get elsewhere. And then, they're going to get to play with better players and in a better situation. And they're all motivated. So, sometimes that's good enough.
George Richards joins us here on Onside Radio. The trade deadline, it's not only about the moves you do make, it's also about the moves you don't. Do you think the Panthers, George, got close to trading Chris Driedger before the deadline?
No, I don't think they did. I think that for the Panthers to have traded Chris Driedger, it would have taken a lot, and not just future, draft picks and stuff. It would have had to be a player that they thought that they needed. And when you're at a trade deadline, you're really, if you're a buyer, then you're dealing with sellers, and those are the teams that are out of it. So no team that was selling needed Driedger. A team that was competing for a playoff spot would have needed him. So they're not going to give up a big piece to get another piece. So those kind of deals rarely work out. I think we saw one yesterday where Washington and Detroit made a move that was, hockey based and not, seller versus buyer. I just don't think Florida wanted to give up Driedger, and I agree with it. I've been calling him their insurance policy, because if something were to happen to Bob, you've got Driegs to step in and vice versa. So, they've got a terrific 1-2 punch in goal. With the way the schedule's compressed and they're playing back-to-back games all the time, you want to have a chance, and Driedger gives you that chance every time he's in net. So we'll see him again tonight. I just don't think that they were close to dealing him just because of what he means to the team, the worth that he brings. It would have taken a hell of a trade for Bill Zito to do it.
Now, they're probably losing him this offseason, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're losing him. I mean, he's going to be a starter somewhere, or at least, go somewhere where he'll be considered the starter. He's earned that in the last 2 years. And I think that he's loyal to the Panthers because the Panthers gave him a chance when nobody else did 3 years ago. They gave him a lifeline and give him credit for working his way up and taking that opportunity and doing the most with it. But the Panthers can't afford him. The Panthers aren't going to be able to afford him. He's going to be getting a starter salary somewhere else. And, it'll be a mutual parting because I think the Panthers are very grateful for what Chris Driedger did for them. And I know Chris Driedger is very grateful for what the Panthers did for him.
Do you like what the Panthers have in the pipeline at goalie, or are they going to need to go out and get maybe a veteran backup?
They might have to get a veteran backup. It depends what they decide to do with Spencer Knight, the highly touted goalie of the future. Do you want him at the NHL level backing up Bob and playing here and there? Because next year we go back to the 82-game schedule where the backup will be getting the back-to-backs and, playing once every 2 weeks like normal. Do you want your 21-year-old rookie learning the ropes that way, or do you want him playing every night in the AHL in Charlotte? So they'll probably send Spencer Knight to Charlotte, meaning you either have Sam Montembeault back, or you lose him to Seattle in the expansion draft, and you have to bring someone else in. So I think we'll have, at the end of the day, we'll either have Montembeault or someone else joining the Panthers next year.
One of the acquisitions the Panthers made was Sam Bennett, who was the 4th overall pick after Aaron Ekblad, who was 1st overall in 2014. What do you think Bennett can add to this team?
He's going to bring a little bit of punch. He's a very aggressive player. He's been a pretty good 3rd, 4th line guy for Calgary. And that's good. But, where he was picked in the draft, I think there were expectations in Calgary that he would be a top line guy. And that just didn't materialize in Calgary. And he always had to play under that weight of being the 4th overall pick. He never lived up to that, except in the playoffs. He's actually a very good player. In the postseason, his game really seems to amp up to a different level. But in the regular season, people in Calgary remember that you've got a top 4 pick and you used it on a guy that turned out to be a 3rd, 4th line guy. In Florida, who cares? You don't care where he was drafted. You got him, it's not our problem. I think he'll be able to come here and shine. He doesn't have all those expectations, all those pressures. It's a different world in Calgary than it is in South Florida. And I think that's, when you look at the group of the players that Bill Zito brought in, they all have that in common. They all have something to prove. They all have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And a change of scenery for all of them is probably going to be beneficial.
George, you've covered the NHL for a long time, and you've done a lot of traveling. I know there's not been a whole lot of traveling going on these last couple of seasons with COVID. But as far you mentioned Calgary, is that I've been to a couple spots in Canada. Calgary is not one of them. Is that a good city to visit? It seems like a rodeo town. Is that like a cool place to go?
Yeah, it kind of is. It's like a small Denver. I like Calgary a lot. It's a cool town. It's got like a big city Western vibe. Calgary's cool, but you're right. It does have that rodeo feel, that Western. You see people wearing cowboy boots at the supermarket, that kind of thing. But it's a cool town. They love their hockey. They love their the Stampede and their CFL team and all that stuff. But it's a cool place. In fact, I think a few years ago, that was Edmonton, but the Marlins had their AAA team out that way. So back in the day, back in the day, and it's far away from here, man. I mean, it is far.
Something a player I was looking at a little bit before the deadline. He ended up going to Boston, Taylor Hall, and it didn't seem like Boston gave up a whole lot for him. George, is that why do you think he slipped through a lot of cracks there, and is that a move the Panthers should have made?
I think the Panthers were interested in a guy like Taylor Hall, but the thing with Taylor is you've got to play him in the top 6. He's got an $8 million cap hit. I think a lot of people were surprised that Buffalo didn't get more, especially when you look and you've got, Florida giving up 2 second-round picks for a 3rd, 4th line guy. So Florida gave up more for Sam Bennett than Boston gave up for Taylor Hall, wow. 3 years removed from being league MVP. But different situation, more money. $2 million is what the team that acquired him is going to have to pay him. You have to play him in certain situations, and he's free. He's a free agent. He's a pure rental. Where a guy like Sam Bennett, Florida, he's got RFA rights, so he'll be staying with the Panthers if he doesn't get picked up by Seattle. So the Panthers at least have something to hold on to moving forward.
We're joined here by George Richards, does an awesome job covering the Panthers and the NHL for FloridaHockeyNow.com. So, George, big picture, I've kind of come to the resignation, and this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what can happen in the playoffs, because we see what can happen in hockey if a team catches fire and you get a really hot goaltender. I'm hoping Bobrovsky can be that, but I have resigned myself to the thinking that, for as good of a year that the Panthers are having, they're not as good as Tampa Bay, and they're not as good as Carolina. And there's nothing wrong with that because this team is improving. But how far do you think the Panthers can actually go in the playoffs this year?
Well, like you said, on paper, they probably lose in the first round because they'll play Tampa Bay or Carolina, unless they get hot right now and they end up winning the division, and then they would play, the likes of Nashville, Dallas, or Chicago in the first round. And it's very important for a team like Florida or Carolina to win the division. That way they avoid one of the big three in the Central. Tampa Bay, I don't think cares. They don't care who they play. They just, tell us when the playoffs start, tell us where we're going, we'll be there. But for Florida and Carolina, they would like the easier road in the first round. That said, This is hockey, man. This is not, you looking, we've talked about this before. I know I've had this conversation with you about the NBA where, the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference in the NBA has zero chance pretty much to win. But in hockey, you see it all the time where, as long as you get in, anything can happen. We saw it a couple years ago when Columbus sneaks into the playoffs and end up sweeping the best team in hockey in Tampa Bay. So it happens. You get a hot goalie. Bobrovsky was the goalie for Columbus that time when they beat Tampa Bay. You ride a hot goalie, you have no idea how far you can go.
Amen to that. You want to make sure you follow George on Twitter at George Richards and check out his work at FloridaHockeyNow.com. George, enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Alex. We'll see you, bud.
Awesome stuff there, as always. By the way, Bayern's still holding on. Dude, a couple minutes ago, a saucy cross, and Neymar was like a split second behind on his slide. Like he was basically on the goal line ready to finish, but the ball just trickled past him. It's a goal has been coming for PSG. I'm really hoping that Bayern can catch them maybe on a counter and get a second goal, but PSG looks pretty structured defensively as well. Bayern do have the 1-0 lead. And I'm rooting for Bayern. I'm rooting for our guy, Kai-Chen Chisholm, who loves Bayern. But I don't know. I'm certainly not feeling good about them advancing. And I don't know even about winning this game. I do have Bayern on the money line. 844-416-8123 is how you reach us. That's 844-416-8123. During Terrible Take Tuesday, I didn't even get to this one. I retweeted something, this Twitter account, LFC_doof10. I think it's a Liverpool fan account, but he tweets out a photo of a slice of pizza covered in white rice on pizza. Does rice belong on pizza, he asks. I'm offended. Alex Aguirre, does white rice belong on pizza?
What the hell did I just hear? No, man, not at all.
Oh, that is so bad.
I'm just going to be nice like that. Be like, just say no. I'm not going to get into that.
You can get into it if you want to.
Nah, I'm good.
I don't mind. I don't mind if you throw out some harsh language.
No, it's not. It's just like, okay, we already gone through the whole pineapple thing already. It's like, what the hell are you doing? So, and then people still want to say, okay, let's go beneath that and say rice. And I'm just like, come on now. Now you're just playing with this.
I think rice on pizza might even be worse than pineapple. That's a good question. Those of you
would
who
you even taste it? How much? Would you even taste the rice? Because it's there's a lot of cheese and sauce.
Yeah, because plain rice doesn't taste like much.
Right.
What's even the point?
Exactly.
It's you're taking flavor away from the pizza.
Makes no sense.
I want you guys to weigh in on the text line at 844-416-8123, or for those of you in the YouTube chat, does white rice belong on pizza? And hey, make sure you know, because some of you maybe have not taken advantage of this, you can watch us and chat with us live on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, youtube.com, search Onside Radio. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, by the way. Make sure you subscribe to our Onside Radio channel on YouTube and watch us streaming live. All the shows stream live from 4th and 20 in the morning through my show through 6 p.m. The weekend shows all stream live on YouTube as well. And when you're watching us live, make sure you smash that like button, because that embraces the algorithm. That pumps us up into everybody's YouTube homepage, and it tells more people about Onside Radio. Andy from Scotland says rice is the worst. I'm assuming he means rice on pizza, because just plain rice, I'm fine with it. I'm cool with rice, but rice on pizza is sacrilege. Herman Cueva says sushi pizza. I'm sure that exists somewhere.
It's gotta exist.
I've had a sushi burrito before, and it wasn't terrible. Like it wasn't like so. What it was instead of a tortilla, you had the seaweed wrap, and then you had
I've
rice.
had that before.
Yeah, you had rice and like spicy tuna in the middle of it. So it was basically like an oversized spicy tuna roll. Is basically what it was, and it was fine. Like the sushi burrito was good, but if you're talking about putting, and I love sushi, believe me, and I also love pizza, as you know. If you're talking about like putting sushi on like pizza crust, it makes my stomach turn.
Not a good mix. I don't think it's a good mix, health-wise as well.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little Miami Heat, some NBA with Alex Toledo, who's at Tropical Blanket on Twitter. He's part of 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide. We are OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnSideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnSideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Wasn't there another boy band like 98 Degrees or 99
American
degrees?
pop and R&B vocal group consisting of 4 vocalists.
It is
Jeff Timmons, brothers Nick and Drew Lachey, and Justin. Yeah, Nick Lachey, that's right.
Nick Lachey. So it was 98 Degrees, right? There you go. How about that? Did you know I was the boy band expert, by the way?
Onside Zone with the Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnSideRadio.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnSideRadio.com.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
I gotta tell you, even if they don't advance to the quarterfinal, to the semifinal. We're in the quarterfinal now. Even if they don't advance against PSG, if Bayern can hold on and keep a clean sheet against PSG today, that's going to be one of the bigger accomplishments in this Champions League. Neymar should have had a hat trick by now. He has been playing so well for PSG, but it's still 1-0 Bayern. 3-3 on aggregate, but PSG have the huge advantage with 3 away goals. So Bayern, they're going to have to win this game 2-0 or 3-2 and then go to extra time and try to get a winner. So, but Bayern are going to need another goal in this game, and PSG have been the ones that have been a lot more threatening. I mean, Choupo-Moting did get a goal for Bayern, took advantage of a rebound in the first half, but if you're just going by like chances created versus chances conceded, then PSG probably deserve to be winning this game. Now, I hate when people use that term "deserve" in soccer. Like you'll hear that quote a lot, and maybe it's just translations are sometimes bad from Spanish, Italian, German when you hear coaches translated. But so often, after a soccer game is played, and maybe the team who loses the game has more possession and more scoring chances, then they still lose 1-0 or 2-1. And then you'll often hear the losing coach in his press conference will say, we deserved more from this game, or we deserve to win this game. And I have a problem with that term being used because so many of these analytic stat head geeks will just say, well, hold on, we had a better XG than they did. Oh, no, we created more chances, and we completed 91% of our crosses, and they only completed 88% of our crosses, so therefore we really should have won this game, and blah, 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 blah. I got news for you. The scoreboard doesn't lie, my friends. The only way when you lose a game, if the coach is going to say we deserved more or we deserve to win, the only time you can say that is if you were obviously robbed by a referee. And, of course, that happens, right? If a referee makes a terrible call on an offside, on a goal that you should have scored, or a goal is disallowed that should have gone in, and because a lot of times these referees will use VAR and they'll still screw it up, right? They'll watch the replay, from super slow-mo, and they're still going to mess up the call. It happens way too often. Unless you get robbed blind by a referee, I don't want to hear any coach say, we deserve to win this game, because, my friends, it's either your goalkeeper didn't do a good enough job, your defense had a momentary lapse. If the other team scores more than you, unless you were obviously robbed by an official, you cannot say you deserved more from that game. Because those who watch soccer closely, you understand that, hey, just because a team has more possession, you're not entitled to more goals for that, because it's lazy analysis. I feel like Pep Guardiola has ruined like a whole generation of soccer fans. Barcelona with their tiki-taka ruined a whole generation of soccer fans because everyone thinks, well, hey, if we had like 62% of the possession, we completed more passes, we played the better game. There are plenty of teams who purposely structure their defense, put more men behind the ball, and they try to break quickly on the counter. And that doesn't mean, they had a worse game than the team that had more of the ball. Like it's really not about that. It drives me absolutely crazy. But yeah, 68th minute, and it's still 1-0 Bayern against PSG. And I'd love to see them. I'd love to see them win this game. By the way, I retweeted the "Does rice belong on pizza?" with the picture, and Diesel Kane responded, "You'd weigh 600 pounds quickly eating that mess." Tito Benach writes in, "Smart move to slander Pep Guardiola after I leave." Yeah, Tito's a Man City fan. Screw you and screw Pep, that bald loser. I'm bald, so I can say that. I can slander the bald community. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. I screwed up in the last segment. I said that Alex Toledo was going to join us here. He's actually going to join us at 4:35, so he's going to join us in the upcoming segment. We'll talk some Miami Heat with him. Now, I feel very strongly that Julian Edelman is not a Hall of Famer, and I believe he will not be a Hall of Famer. He just doesn't have the numbers. Like, yeah, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings, and he's got a Super Bowl MVP, but he was never a Pro Bowler, and he just does not have the numbers to be a Hall of Famer. But Julian Edelman had a hell of a career going up against the Miami Dolphins. Julian Edelman feasted against the Dolphins. Here are Edelman's numbers just against Miami over the years, facing us 2 times a year as a New England Patriot. Julian Edelman against Miami, 111 targets in 16 games. That's the second most against any team in the NFL that he faced, behind the Jets. So he did get more targets against the Jets than the Dolphins. 76 receptions against the Dolphins. That's second most against any NFL team, behind the Jets again. So the Jet fans hate him as well. Julian Edelman against the Dolphins, 951 receiving yards. That's the most against any team he faced in the NFL. And 7 total touchdowns. That's the most against any team he faced in the NFL. So Edelman, he had a very good career, especially good, though, against the Miami Dolphins. He found a lot of success against us. So that's one guy I will not miss. Now there are questions as to whether he's even going to stay retired. The guy announced his retirement like 24 and a half hours ago, and people are already doubting it. This is kind of funny. Rob Gronkowski, played with him for many years in New England. Gronkowski was asked by TMZ, what are the chances that Edelman will land in Tampa Bay? And he said, in typical Gronk fashion, oh, God, I love Gronk, 69% chance, he said. 69% chance. And then he went on to say, and he sounded serious about this, he'll be back, Gronk said. He'll be back, yeah. Now, he was also asked if Gronk was asked if Edelman is going to be a Hall of Famer. And, guys, it sounds to me like even Rob Gronkowski knows that Edelman's not going to be a Hall of Famer. He said he's a Patriot Hall of Famer for sure. That sounds like a non-answer. He says, I definitely think he has a great possibility. But yeah, I want to hold on. Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk writes that people are actually doubting whether Edelman is really down. Edelman said the wheels have fallen off. Like, he's just played beyond the point where his body can take it. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of people, including Pro Football Talk, are doubting whether he actually stays retired. Here's why we're writing this. Florio says Edelman could still return. Retirements, as we've learned time and time again, aren't binding, even when announced via a video that creates the clear impression that 1, he's done, and 2, he'd never play for any team other than the Patriots. Less than 2 weeks ago, Edelman posted an April Fool's Day gag about joining Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Would anyone be shocked if that's what happens? No. Guys, I remember yesterday when he announced his retirement, Rafa in Miami on the YouTube chat immediately said, oh, he's going to Tampa Bay. And I felt the same way. I felt the exact same way. However, the Boston Herald reported that it's doubtful Edelman will be able to play a full 2021 season. This implies he'll be able to play some in 2021. The Buccaneers don't need him now. They don't need him in August or September or October or November. He could join the team for the stretch run to get up to speed with the goal of contributing in the playoffs. And he could then add to his postseason legacy, maybe even with another Super Bowl MVP award. An unretirement currently seems unlikely in light of his health. However, as the NFL explained it earlier this morning via email, because Edelman has been cut by the Patriots, he will not be subject to PED testing. Edelman, who was suspended 4 games in 2018 for PED use, could now, in theory, do whatever he has to do over the next several months without fear of PED testing. It's an effort to get his knee right for one last ride in Tampa. It's very interesting. I don't know what they're implying there. Yeah, I do. I do know what they're implying there. Oh man. Wow. Yeah. So Can't See Me on Twitter commented on the pizza with rice. He said it may be late arriving, that submission for Terrible Take Tuesday, but it's pulling away for the win, he said. That might have actually won Terrible Take Tuesday. This is kind of interesting. Kevin Clark of The Ringer has a conspiracy theory on the Dolphins draft. This is a lot less ridiculous than Mel Kiper's take. Mel Kiper thinks the Dolphins are going to trade back up to number 4, which is absurd. But Kevin Clark of The Ringer says, so the conspiracy theory around the league is everybody was wondering why the Dolphins traded up from 12 to 6. And a lot of that was because I think there are people in the league who think the Dolphins believe 6 is still the catbird seat and they can get more draft capital, said Clark. And they can wait for a desperate team to come up and get, you can get maybe even a few more second-round picks, maybe a first-round pick, depending on how that shakes out. So I think the Dolphins wanted to be in the thick of it and could take advantage of more desperations. The Dolphins have been getting really good of taking advantage of desperation over the past few years, or they just stay at 6 if it doesn't work and they get a weapon for Tua. So I think that there's flexibility at 6 that doesn't exist at 12. You're really waiting for the draft to shake out before you know what you can get at 12. No, that's honestly not crazy. As a Dolphin fan, I would prefer them to use that 6 overall pick on somebody like Chase or Pitts, but the pattern of behavior is there because Kevin Clark, I thought, said it really well. The Dolphins, Chris Grier, have gotten really good at taking advantage of desperation. I mean, look what they did to the Houston Texans in that Laramie Tunsil trade. We're still reaping the benefits of that. They just took advantage of a desperate San Francisco who wanted to get up to number 3. And then they take advantage of, a scrambling Philadelphia to move back up to number 6. So the Dolphins have gotten really good at taking advantage of desperation, and maybe if they feel good about a player or two they can get in the teens, they might even consider, because number 6 could still be quarterback zone, because that, Mac Jones or Trey Lance or even Justin Fields could still be on the board at number 6, and a team may be desperate to go up and get one of those guys. It would not shock me if the Dolphins were to actually trade down from the number 6 spot. So that to me makes a ton more sense than the Dolphins moving back into the top 5, which is absolutely absurd. We'll talk some Miami Heat basketball with Alex Toledo from 5 on the Floor when we come back. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com, and I hope you guys are going to join us for our draft party. Miami Dolphins fans, join us for OnsideRadio.com's NFL Draft Party at Sports Grill in Miami at 11481 Southwest Bird Road. Join Big O and me for this 2-night event starting on Thursday, April 29th at 7:30 p.m. and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Drink and food specials, giveaways, and the best damn draft party in South Florida. Join us for a 2-night event as OnsideRadio.com and Sports Grill in Bird Road bring you the best NFL draft party on the planet.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Enter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Miami Marlins beat the Atlanta Braves 5-3 in 10 innings. Garrett Cooper had 3 RBIs and drove in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning. Yimi Garcia picked up the win. Game 2 of the series is tonight at 7:20, with Pablo Lopez and Max Fried for your pitching matchup. Miami Heat are back in action tonight, taking on the Phoenix Suns, who are on the second game of a back-to-back after beating the Houston Rockets 126-120 last night. Tip-off is at 10. Florida Panthers are also back on the ice against the Dallas Stars. Puck drops at 8:30. Dallas won Saturday 4-1. Yesterday, the Panthers acquired forward Sam Bennett from the Calgary Flames, sending a 2022 second-rounder and a 2020 second-round pick. Seth Curry dropped 53 points in a 116-107 win, passing Wilt Chamberlain as the all-time points leader in Golden State Warriors history. Also during this game, Jamal Murray went down with an injured left knee. MRI reveals a torn ACL. This is South Florida's home for local sports talk. This is OnsideRadio.com.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, we love talking basketball with our next guest. Alex Toledo does an awesome job on the 5 on the Floor podcast, 5reasonsports.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Tropical Blanket. Alex, good afternoon. How's your week going so far, man?
Doing all right, man. What about you?
Doing pretty well. I'm a little bit just frustrated about how much we don't know about what's going on with Victor Oladipo. And what am I missing here? If the MRI didn't show any structural damage and the X-rays were negative, why are there question marks about him even playing again this year?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that we're all just trying to kind of figure out right now because, I'm glad there is no structural damage. I think that was what was reported from Ethan from 5 Reasons Sports, and, that's good, of course. I just don't know at all what the timetable is going to be for him, whether or not he's going to be back before the playoffs or for the playoffs at all. I don't know. It doesn't seem like if I had to take an educated guess, he will be back for the playoffs, but I obviously don't have any information. It just doesn't seem like a scenario where he's going to be out for the season. But I don't know because the Heat are so secretive about these things and are so tight-lipped about it that it's really hard to tell or gauge really where he's at. I just hope he's all right. I feel bad for him because, it's just so obvious that he's been wanting to be here for so long. Only got to play 4 games. Was really coming around those past couple of games there. That last game, he looked pretty damn good. And, for it to just go down like that sucks. And then you saw what happened last night with, Jamal Murray. This season kind of sucks, man.
It really does. It really does. And and I hope we see Victor back as soon as possible because, the last game he played before he came up hurt on the right knee was last Thursday against the Lakers, and I thought he played so well. Like, we saw him drive into the basket, getting to the free throw line, dunking. He wasn't just deferring and settling for jumpers. He was going to the hoop, which I think is really how Spo wanted him to play, and we finally saw a bit of it. Like, assuming we see Oladipo again at some point this year, and especially for hopefully a playoff run coming up, how much do you think he can add to this Heat team when he is 100%?
Well, I hope, assuming that he goes back to pretty much what he was before the injury, let's say, to work with those terms, I think you were seeing what he was giving you. Like, he just gives you a little bit of a lot of things, right? Where when you're not relying on him to be your main creator, main scorer, like, you realize this guy is still kind of a jack of all trades, even though he's not necessarily an all-star player anymore. I think he's still kind of on the level just below it, more or less. I think that's kind of what he's played at this season. And when I look at him and the way that he plays off of Jimmy, Bam, Duncan, and just the rest of the starters, I really, really like what he brings. Obviously, the defensive end, it speaks for itself. He is nasty on that end and can pretty much do whatever is necessary from his position. Now, on the offensive end, like I said, like, he can shoot a little bit, but that's not really his game. Like, I like when he takes the in-rhythm catch-and-shoot jumpers, and I think it looks better for him when he does that. I don't mind him taking set catch-and-shoot threes, but his game is really getting to the cup, getting to the rim, and he's still really good at it. Even if he lost some of the bursts that he had a couple of years ago, he's still really good at getting to the rim and either finishing or finding other guys as a secondary playmaker. And I think that's the part that's really, really useful for them because we know their offense has struggled this season. Tyler and Duncan and even Kendrick have looked better as of late as far as making their shots. But he just diversifies what you can do on offense when you have a guy who can create easy looks for, guys like Bam and Jimmy and the shooters who have kind of had to work so hard for looks this season. And although it's gotten better, they're going to miss having another guy like Oladipo to rely on, especially with Goran's decline.
We're joined here by Alex Toledo from 5 on the Floor. And on what you just left us with there, on Goran's decline, is he coming back from this? Like, what do you think is going on with his body? And can we get, like, another run of vintage Goran?
I really hope so. I don't think he's going to give you the level of play he gave you last season. Like, I felt like the circumstances were just perfect, where they had so much time off before the bubble that I just think it's going to be nearly impossible to recreate that, where he was just doing consistently night after night, was just being this ridiculously efficient scoring floor general who was not all the way terrible on defense like he has been this season and like he kind of was during the regular season last year. I just think a lot of it has to do with his body. Like you said, it's just been like I can't remember the last time he was 100% ever since the injuries that he had in the finals.
Right.
And like he came back pretty soon, like sooner than we all thought he would, given the severity of it at the time. There was obviously a really short turnaround from the end of the bubble where he were in the finals to the beginning of the season. It's a shortened season, like I talked about earlier. Like it's just, a lot of games and a lot less nights. And I just think it's really tough for a guy like Goran, who's 34, to just take that. And I don't know, like I think he could still be a good player for you, but I just think he's going to be a guy who has to be relegated to being off the bench. And whereas last year you could rely on him in the bubble to be your third best player consistently, sometimes even better than that, and, to pretty much be their third all-star and a starting point guard for you, that was just, they were 100% better with him on the floor than without. And I don't think that's been the case at all this season. Like, I do think they still need him, but you can't start him every game and feel good about it in the same way you did last year.
Are people fantasizing too much about Kawhi Leonard? I know it only takes, a couple of media outlets to put out the possibility that he could be looking at Miami as a possible destination, and it gets a lot of folks' hopes up. Is that something that you're gonna that has your radar up, or are you thinking, no, it seems too good to be true?
I mean, look, my radar is always on for Wales, but
yeah,
I definitely I'm not getting my hopes up with Kawhi. Like when I first heard these reports a while back, like it just seems like, something that would only seem interesting if they just kind of collapse in the second round or earlier again. And I think that would make it just kind of like, okay, it's worth monitoring because, 2 straight second round exits for that team is kind of a disappointment. Like you wonder what's going to happen. But it was just so obvious Kawhi was trying to maneuver his way to LA before, and it just seems out of the question that he would leave so early. Like after 2 seasons, even if they collapse again, it's just like, well, what seems more likely, that Kawhi leaves LA or that they work something out where, just as an example, right, they try to move on from Paul George and rebuild through that type of trade, right? Like, maybe Kawhi is just over the whole LA thing. Maybe he's like, okay, I'm good. I played in it. I could just live here in the summer and do my thing for a team that I'd rather play on. And look, it makes sense, right? Because, you saw the Heat in the finals. You saw that Kawhi recruited Jimmy before they ended up trading for Paul George. And so I do get those connections. But really, to me, unless it's just like another collapse, I don't really see that happening at all. Would be awesome, though.
It's probably really tough to answer this since we don't know a whole lot about his injury right now. But as far as the long-term future of Oladipo in a Miami Heat uniform, do you think that they're going to maybe try to find a way to keep him either long-term at a discount or maybe a 1-and-1? There's no way the Heat would give him a max deal, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think the max deal is coming. Obviously, we're just speaking from this point in time right now. Like, who knows, he can come back and just look awesome and really continue on from what he was doing and just putting it together at a consistent rate, I think would make it an interesting conversation. But at this point in time, like, there's just no way you can do that. And I know they didn't promise him anything when they did trade for him. Obviously, they don't really have to re-sign him in the sense that, you gave up Kelly Olynyk, who's been really productive for the Rockets, was a good player for the Heat. But the Heat had the leverage here. And so the onus was on him to prove himself. I thought he was really coming together, like I said, even though it was a really small sample there. But I thought their plan, if I had to guess, I think their plan this summer is to try to re-sign Oladipo at a really team-friendly deal. I would guess short-term. Who knows? Maybe they try to do like a long-term one. Like you said, that thought hadn't even really passed through my head, like trying to get a lower rate for a long-term deal for the years, but I don't know if he would even be down to do that as much as he wants to be here. So I was thinking of something like a short-term deal where you get a smaller amount, actually like a whole year to prove himself, and then maybe you try to lure in Kyle Lowry with cap space. I think, like, that seems like the type of thing that they would try to do. And somehow, if you have Depot's bird rights, you obviously have Duncan Robinson there. If you can kind of find a way to kind of go above the cap to sign those guys after using the cap space on Lowry. Like, I wonder if that's the something they're looking at. I just think it seems like that's something the Heat would try to do, especially given the obvious interest that Lowry has had here.
Really good stuff here from Alex Toledo from 5 on the Floor, who joins us on Onside Radio. So Heat are back-to-back nights on the road, tonight in Phoenix, tomorrow in Denver. For the Suns game tonight, it's hopefully not another huge Jay Crowder performance, the one that got away. What do you think about tonight? Can the Heat get it done this evening in Phoenix?
Well, Jay Crowder went off last night, so we know what that means. He'll hit like 2 threes tonight. It'll be okay. They'll probably get killed by somebody else. I don't think it's going to be Crowder, but it would be funny. It would be funny if it's Jay Crowder. I just think it would have been funnier earlier in the season before they made the trades when everybody was kind of exasperated about the roster and about missing Crowder. But these are 2 really, really, really tough games coming up on the road. I thought the Portland win was a good win, even though they were playing on the second night of a back-to-back. If they can come out with one of these games, I'll be happy. And I know that kind of sounds like, I have no guts, but I just think the Suns and the Nuggets are both really, really good. I have a feeling if I had to guess, they're going to beat the Suns and lose to the Nuggets. Like, they keep doing the trapping and blitzing, and I think Jokic is going to absolutely carve that up if they decide to do that against him. Like, if they try to make Jokic, beat that scheme, I just think he's going to carve it up over and over. And, I'm interested to see, though, because they're 2 really, really good teams, and I want to see Heat put up fights versus these teams, kind of, gauging where they're at without Oladipo.
Really well said. You want to make sure you follow Alex on Twitter at Tropical Blanket and hear him on 5 on the Floor and check him out at the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Alex Toledo, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the games tonight and tomorrow night.
Thank you, man.
Good stuff as always there by Alex Toledo. 844-416-8123 if you want to get in on the text line. That's 844-416-8123. Ooh, James Conner signed today with the Arizona Cardinals. God, I keep seeing so many people on social media trying to say that Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer. He's not. I still have to, at 5 o'clock, I'm going to tackle the roundtable question for today. It concerns the Miami Dolphins and the draft, and I've got a pretty strong opinion on this one. So we're going to tackle that at 5 o'clock. We're going to wrap up the 4 o'clock hour. When we come back, we'll say hello to everyone who's been texting us and on the YouTube chat as well. Hey, Sundays, OnsideRadio.com continues to provide you the kind of sports talk South Florida fans desire. Every Sunday at 7 a.m., tune in to the Sunday Sports Drop with Jazz Santana. Catch Jazz every week as he takes your calls and discusses the biggest stories in sports. That's the Sunday Sports Drop, 7 to 9 a.m., exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
If you missed 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, you missed.
And the top trait they're looking for in a partner is someone that can cook better than them.
Wow.
Yeah. How are you at cooking?
I'm okay. I cook all my stuff.
What's your best dish? If I had to say, Marsh, this you're gonna eat in tonight with a girl. All right.
If I'm cooking for a girl, then I'm not cooking.
4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh, weekday mornings from 8 to 10.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., only on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
Get the brutal honesty every day with the Onside Zone with a big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on your home for sports talk in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and ginger, captain and ginger. He was a captain and ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
I want to say hello to everyone who's been interacting. Marla has been active on the text line. We appreciate you. I've seen our guys Ray Grullon, Gus, Andy in Scotland, Herman, Cueva, Brandon Flood has been through on YouTube. Bromar Smelly. We love Bromar Smelly. JJL Gamer is watching on YouTube. By the way, speaking of gaming, I was listening to the Esports Minute. Do you know anything about that, Alex, with MLB The Show? How like they're available for free to the Xbox subscribers, but the PlayStation subscribers have to pay full price?
I had no idea about that. Yeah, I use a PS4, so I'm screwed.
You're totally screwed.
And last time I checked, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, But like I'm a loyal like user of MLB The Show because the PlayStation Network.
You know, I've never played it.
Well, no, but like that game was only for PlayStation users. It never came out for the Xbox.
Right.
MLB 2K had their own game, but it never really sold well. So that fizzled out after like 2013 or something like that. So I've been a PS4 user for God knows how long now. So I've been on MLB The Show for years, and this is how they treat me. Really? Wow. That sucks.
So the people who subscribe to the Xbox platform, they get it for free. And what do you have to pay, like $70 for the game for PlayStation 4 or 5?
Well, the PS5 version is probably going to be more expensive, but like a brand new game for the PS4.
You know, I decided I'm
$60-$80.
just stopping at 4. Like I refuse to continue this madness. I'm just going to keep playing PS4.
It's going to keep going,
forever.
Donno.
I'm just going to keep going.
It's going to keep going though.
No, I don't care. Like I'm done. Like I'm just going to stick at 4, and I'm just going to play the games that I already have. And
my
I'm
Xbox
good.
360 still works.
Yeah, you know, I have
one
of those. It's in like storage because I don't because the thing is like I barely play video games to begin with.
Right.
So I don't need a PlayStation 4 and because I play Nintendo Switch sometimes. It's been a minute though since I played I used to play a lot of Mario Kart on there. But I don't need a PlayStation 4 and a Nintendo Switch and an Xbox 360 because I had one of those. I didn't have the one that came out after that, but I still somewhere like in my garage I have my Xbox 360, but I haven't fired it up in a while. By the way, I love the buzz in the chat. We're already buzzing for the 2022 NFL Draft because we're going to go to Vegas for that. We're going to be in Sports Grill later this month. Big O and I will be doing draft shows from down there. So that's going to, for obvious reasons, we decided not to go to Cleveland because A, it's Cleveland, and B, we're not through COVID yet. So, we weren't expecting like big crowds of Dolphin fans. We don't necessarily want to create big crowds of Dolphins fans. When a lot of folks have not been vaccinated yet. So we're not going to Cleveland, but we're going to be going down to Sports Grill Bird Road. That's going to be a lot of fun for this year. We're going to do a night 1 and a night 2 draft show Thursday and Friday night. But then next year, lock, stock, and barrel, we are going to Vegas. We are going to Vegas 2022. And a lot of the people in the YouTube chat are going to come see us there. I know Andy in Scotland wants to come over to Vegas. There you go. Oh, guys, you have no idea how much money I'm going to lose on those blackjack tables. It is going to be glorious, but it's going to be so much fun. I'm going to be in the sports book. I'm going to be on the blackjack tables. I'm going to be drinking Negronis and all the bars there. It's going to be so much fun, man, in Vegas. It's going to be great. We'll kick off the 5 o'clock hour. I want to tackle the roundtable question for today concerning your Miami Dolphins when we come back. By the way, so PSG advancing, but Bayern did win 1-0, so my money line bet cashed. Chelsea, though, clowned me. Chelsea advanced 2-1 on aggregate, but they lost to Porto 1-0, so I went 1 for 2. I won on Bayern over PSG on the money line, but I also had Chelsea over Porto on the money line, so I went 1-1 today in my Champions League bets. I think I did come out on the plus because both of those were plus money, so I think I maybe came out a few dollars ahead. Nothing special. So we'll kick off the 5 o'clock hour when we come back here. Hey, Heat and NBA fans, catch Ira Winderman here exclusively at OnSideRadio.com with our Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat reports. Catch Ira throughout the week at OnSideRadio.com and when news breaks. Basketball fans know Onside Radio is the place you get the insight you need.
OnSideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your On-Side Radio E-Report with Toast.
Sony is upsetting PlayStation owners in a bizarre story. MLB The Show, the long-running baseball video game, will finally appear on the Xbox platform. Sony claims this wasn't their call, but Major League Baseball's decision to switch platforms to open them up to new gamers. Switching platforms isn't a big deal, but what has really pissed off PlayStation owners is that MLB The Show will be available to Xbox Game Pass members for free, while PlayStation owners will have to pay $70 for the title. PlayStation has an equivalent to the Xbox Game Pass. It's called PlayStation Plus, but they've never made MLB The Show available only to PlayStation Plus members over the years. You had to buy the game, and that's what has a legion of PlayStation owners cursing out Sony today. Happy gaming.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the On-Side Radio E-Report. We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusts the Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDConstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour here on OnsideRadio.com, Man of the Match with Alex Donno. I'm Alex Donno. Take you for another hour here, up until 6 o'clock here tonight. We'll get your Tuesday done right. Tuesdays are my favorite day of the week because we do Terrible Take Tuesday on Tuesdays. I always feel bad. Last week he did get to partake, but usually Alex Aguirre misses out on Terrible Take Tuesday. I heard a Terrible Take, Alex, from Tito. I asked Tito how his vacation was. He just got back from like a little over a week in North Carolina with some family. Can you believe this dude goes up to North Carolina for over a week, doesn't eat barbecue even once in North Carolina? It's unforgivable.
I mean, maybe he had his mind set on something else.
How could you? Like, what else? Like,
I can't defend him. I don't know what else is popular to eat in North Carolina.
I think that's it. I think it's barbecue.
I've had the barbecue in North Carolina. It's damn good. That's a fact. Yeah.
I mean, it's like going.
Have you ever had Kansas barbecue?
No, I've never been to Kansas.
Near have I.
So
but I heard
had,
barbecue's good there.
No, I've heard like the barbecue. I've had Texas barbecue, which is awesome. Carolina barbecue, awesome. I've never had Tennessee barbecue, and I've never had like Kansas City barbecue. Those are a couple of other barbecue hotbeds, but I never had it. But going to North Carolina for a week and not having barbecue, it's like going to France for a week and not having a croissant. It's like going to Italy for a week and not eating pasta. What are you doing, bro? I'm always damn sure, Alex, like I've only been to New Orleans once in my life. I was there for about 3 days, and you name it, I had it. Gumbo, jambalaya, shrimp po' boy, alligator tail, oysters. I mean, everything
you can imagine.
Everything New Orleans is famous for. I was there for like 72 hours. I had beignets. And I had, by the way, people who brag about the coffee in New Orleans, you're on crack. It sucks. I had the Cafe au lait at Cafe du Monde. It's like this, like
at least you tried it though.
It's one of those things like people always try. Oh, you got to go. Like these Cajuns always say, oh, you got to go to the Cafe du Monde and get the Cafe au lait. It tastes like shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't think coffee and New Orleans. Everything you said before that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would hands down. But like, I wouldn't go to New Orleans and say, hey, I want to try your coffee here.
No, like people rave about it. They put some weird spice in it. I think it's called chicory. Like they put this chicory in their coffee, and it tastes like garbage. Like I don't know, like literal garbage. I don't know how anybody drinks that and is like, oh man, this is some dang good coffee. No, it's awful. I mean, I've had some great coffee in a lot of good spots. Like when I was in Seattle for a week, like 9 years ago, So it seems like a different world between then and now. But I was in Seattle like 9 years ago. I went to all like the little tiny No, I didn't go to. Well, actually, I did go inside one because they have like supposedly the world's first Starbucks. But I found out that was a scam. So Alex, you won't believe this. When you go to Seattle, there's this really old-looking Starbucks location.
I think I got screwed.
They claim to be the world's first Starbucks, but
yeah.
I learned there that actually the original Starbucks location burned down in a fire. So it's not really the original. Like, it's a different spot. Like
they lied to me then. Yeah.
They claim there's this spot in Seattle that claims they are the world's first Starbucks, but it's not really the world's first because the actual real first Starbucks burned down. So they lie to you.
I'm pissed. You know, now they I don't know how much. I was a little kid when we went. I don't remember much of it, but I remember like them mentioning it and them pointing it out on like a tour or whatever. I'm like,
yeah, it's actually
I didn't think much of it. I don't.
It's
drink
actually
coffee.
the second Starbucks. It's not really the. I guess it's the oldest remaining Starbucks that didn't burn down in a fire is all they can really claim to.
It could have been more specific. That would have been nice.
It should have been. But you better believe, like when I went to Seattle, I had, I went down to the fish market. I had all sorts of stuff there. I had all the coffee there. So no, I'm not going to go to North Carolina for a week and not eat barbecue. When you go somewhere, you have to indulge in all the local favorites. You have to. Oh, Rosendo is on board now on the YouTube chat. He says, "Good afternoon, Mr. Donno and the Onside Radio family." Yeah, we got Alex Aguirre here. You know, we're in the final hour here of the show. 844-416-8123. If you want to get us on the text line, that's 844-416-8123. Or if you're able to watch us live on YouTube and jump into the chat, that's an awesome way to communicate as well. Here's today's roundtable discussion on Onside Radio. And all the hosts weigh in on this. Toast in the morning, Kai, 10 to noon, Big O, noon to 3, me. We all weigh in on the roundtable topic. And then at the end of the evening, which is coming damn near close now, Alex Aguirre is going to make a master cut and post a podcast for the roundtable so you can hear all the hosts weigh in on this. If the Dolphins end up selecting offensive tackle Penei Sewell at number 6 and don't end up going playmaker early on in the draft, is that a mistake in your opinion? You bet your ass it's a mistake. Now, I'm not even sure if Penei Sewell drops to 6, and I'd be fine with that. But if he's on the board at number 6 and the Dolphins take him, it's a mistake to me, first and foremost, because I believe you're drafting scared if you settle for an offensive tackle at that spot, given how much of a need you have for a wide receiver or a freakish pass-catching tight end. I believe if you take Penei Sewell at number 6, you're drafting scared. And what I mean by that is offensive tackle, historically, very low bust rate. You have a better idea what you're getting, okay? It's you draft a skill position player, you're taking a bigger risk, right? Because sometimes you put up gigantic numbers in college as a wide receiver, that doesn't always translate to the NFL. Or in the case of some of these receivers, you look at a guy like Devontae Smith, there's a risk there because of his frame, because he's, 6'1", 170 pounds, 169 pounds, something like that. So you kind of worry, hey, maybe this is going to be an injury-prone player at the next level. Wide receiver has among the biggest bust rates of positions taken in the first round, whereas offensive tackle has a very low bust rate. It's a high floor, low ceiling pick. You tend to have a better idea what you're getting at offensive tackle. So when you have a front office that is drafting scared because they're worried about taking a player with higher bust potential, you can say, you know what? We're going to get this offensive tackle at number 6 overall. He's not going to take us to the Super Bowl because it's a freaking offensive tackle. He doesn't score touchdowns. So he's not going to take us to the Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, we have a very low chance of screwing this up. That's not the sort of pick the Miami Dolphins need to make. And, you just did grab Austin Jackson in the first round last year. How many times do you have to take offensive tackles in the first round? And, very rarely do these tackles turn out to be true franchise-changing players. I mean, you just look at the last couple times the Dolphins have spent really high first-round draft picks on offensive tackles. 2007 with the first overall pick. you got a guy named Jake Long, which was a can't-miss prospect, and he was fine, okay? But where did Jake Long take you? 1 playoff appearance, 0 playoff victories. Back in 2016, the Dolphins had the fortune of a gas mask bong video getting leaked an hour before the draft, and 13th overall, they were able to draft a guy who should have been a top 3 pick in Laramie Tunsil. Now, Laramie Tunsil has done more for the Dolphins off the field as a trade than he actually did for the Dolphins on the field. He was a franchise-changing player for a different reason, okay? But on the field, Laramie Tunsil did not elevate the Dolphins, to a Super Bowl level. You were able to take advantage of the Houston Texans' desperation and turn it into like 5 first-round picks. So that's a whole nother story. But if I'm looking for a franchise-elevating and franchise-changing player, I don't believe you're getting that with Penei Sewell at number 6. If you were to have Sewell and Kyle Pitts on the board at 6 and you draft Sewell, I think you're making a terrible mistake. If you have even Sewell and Jamar Chase on the board at number 6 and you choose Sewell, I think you're making a terrible mistake. I think you're passing up on a player that can really become a best friend to Tua Tagovailoa, score touchdowns, move the chains, elevate this football team. It's not to say that offensive line isn't important. Of course it is. Of course you have to protect your quarterback. I just don't believe you need to be spending a top 6 pick to protect your quarterback. If you trust the people drafting for you, okay? If you trust Chris Grier to actually evaluate and find talents and understand how to get offensive linemen in the later rounds, if you actually trust the people evaluating, I think they can accomplish that. I share the philosophy with Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson never believed in using picks that high for offensive linemen. If you actually know how to draft, you can find some gems a little bit later on. You can protect your quarterback without wasting a top 6 asset on an offensive tackle when you could be getting a skill position player that can really elevate your team. Let's see what the chat is saying. Andy in Scotland comments on Devontae Smith. He's just not physically built for the NFL, in my opinion. I share that. Maybe he's the exception to the rule, but his frame just worries me. Bromar Smelly, he's talking about receivers as well. Rosendo says, sorry, Donno, I'd rather draft an offensive lineman than signing a free agent offensive lineman. Yeah, listen, you can draft a lineman. I just don't believe in using your 6th pick on a line. You got plenty of picks in this draft, Rosendo. I'm just saying I don't need to use my number 6 overall pick on one. That's all. You can find linemen later. If you'd rather draft one than sign a free agent, that's fine. I just don't believe Penei Sewell at number 6 has to be the guy. I think the Dolphins would be making a mistake. You could still have a nice first round. If they were to draft Sewell, you could still maybe come away with Najee Harris at number 18. That would be a fine first round, but I would much prefer to come out of the first round with Kyle Pitts and Najee Harris or Jamar Chase and Najee Harris. That would be my fantasy scenario there. 844-416-8123 is how you get in. That's 844-416-8123 on the text line. You can also make sure you stream us live on YouTube. And if you're in there, if you get into our YouTube live stream, smash that like button. Hit the thumbs up button. Bromar Smelly was asking in the chat, because I guess he was on a boat all day yesterday, if there's like 20 new accusers for Watson, if there's anything going on. This actually seems like a pretty quiet day on the Deshaun Watson front. I've looked through Pro Football Talk, and I've run a couple of Google searches. Not a whole lot new going on since yesterday. We've had the lawyers going back and forth over the past couple days, but from what I can tell, we're still at 22 lawsuits for Deshaun. People have been debating the strategies between the lawyers, but it doesn't seem like I don't think there are any new accusers that have emerged over the past day. Yeah, Bromar Smelly says the worst pick was when Parcells drafted Jake Long with the number 1 overall pick. That you drafted scared. He looked and he said, okay, Jake Long, there's 0 bust potential here. Even if he's not a great player, the floor is he's a really good player. That's the guy we're taking at number 1. It was gutless. It was absolutely gutless. All right, we'll continue the 5 o'clock hour when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m., baseball fans can go deep into the count with Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase. Catch the show that talks Marlins and all the big stories in the major leagues. Every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m., Seamheads have a new home. Listen to Deep Into the Count exclusively at OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
This is a fair question that Rafa in Miami asked in the YouTube chat. He says, I'm curious to what Watson is doing these days to get his massage fix. It's a fair question because the guy was obviously addicted. Like, the guy was obviously addicted to booking massages and trying to parlay it into sex. You know, whether or not he's actually guilty of sexual assault, I don't know. But he's obviously a guy who has been booking tons of massages with female masseuses he's never met and trying to turn it into a sexual encounter. Now, he'd have to be an idiot to be still booking those sort of encounters to this day. I mean, unless he has no brain in his head whatsoever, he's got to be laying low right now. But what do you think he's doing for that massage fix? Maybe he got one of those massage chairs. Maybe he got like what are those things? Like my parents have like one of those things from like the Sharper Image or Brookstone, where it's like it's like a massage like a stick basically, because you can reach parts of your back that you can't reach with your hand, like a shiatsu machine. Maybe he got a shiatsu machine, or he might have just gotten a fleshlight. If we're being real here. Seems like that was the sort of that was the sort of touch he was really looking for.
I don't think a massage chair can accomplish what he's looking for in a massage.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was a fair question by Rafa. I'm curious to what Watson is doing these days to get his massage fix. And then Bromar said Watson's got to be staying low. I said he's probably putting on a disguise. Like maybe he's going to like Massage Envy wearing one of those. You ever seen those like the glasses with the fake nose and mustache on them? It's like, sir, what is your name? My name is LaShawn Krotzen. I'm here to book a massage. Swedish, deep tissue. Maybe a few extras if you know what I'm talking about. Because it's hard, man, when you're addicted the way that this guy is. It's hard to quit cold turkey, right? It's very, very difficult. Andy in Scotland says, I just hope this Watson saga has a happy ending. Tony 2 times writes, in a world of high-class escorts, Watson and Robert Kraft love the old rub and tug. It would be kind of poetic if after this saga, if he ends up in New England. Like, can you imagine if Deshaun Watson, maybe not, within the next calendar year, but if at some point he winds up with the Patriots, Bobby Kraft is going to tell him, I know the struggle. I know what you've gone through. Once you get a taste of the rub and tug, it's hard to go back from that, Deshaun. We'll make a home for you here in New England. Groucho Marx glasses. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is, the Groucho Marx glasses. Wasn't that what Bobby Valentine put on back in the day when he was ejected and then he, showed back up wearing the Groucho Marx glasses? Like, oh, this is a great disguise you have on, Mr. V. Oh, my God, this is too funny. Although there's nothing funny about Deshaun Watson's saga, but, you get what I'm saying here. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123 if you want to get at us on the text line. Yeah, texter writes in, Donno, I don't think that the massage chair has the same effect for him. You're right. I mean, he's got to invest in some other tools for that job. Good afternoon, Donno. I used to be very high on taking Penei Sewell, and I don't think the Dolphins actually lose if they get Sewell, Pitts, Chase, or Waddle with the 6th pick. I have come around to thinking Penei Sewell should only be the Dolphins' pick if the other 4 players are off the board, which, by the way, will not happen at 6 or wherever they do end up picking with their first pick of round 1. I love the show from Ron in Michigan. Ron, we love you, man, for the great state of Michigan. We appreciate you checking in. I can understand what he's saying. Like, if by some really strange coincidence, Chase, Pitts, Waddle, and Smith are all off the board, then I can understand drafting Penei Sewell, but that's impossible, right? Because for sure the first pick is going to be a quarterback. For sure the second pick is going to be a quarterback, and the third pick is going to be a quarterback. The 4th and 5th picks, 5th definitely will not be a quarterback. The 4th pick, maybe 60-40, not a quarterback. But yeah, it's impossible. Your scenario, your hype, and I know that that's not what you're thinking, but your doomsday hypothetical of all 4 of the other guys being off the board, we don't have to worry about that, man. I mean, we would only have to worry about it if the Dolphins decided to trade down. If a really desperate team who thinks they can still get their quarterback at number 6 is like, hey, we know the Dolphins don't want a quarterback, and we're looking at Trey Lance is still on the board or Mac Jones is still on the board. We want to go up and get him. Let's see if the Dolphins want to move. Yeah, maybe Chris Greer will take advantage of a desperate team out there who wants to move up. And then if you trade down to 6 to wherever, then all 4 of those players might be off the board, but then Penei Sewell would be off the board too as well. Like if you traded down into the teens, no chance. If you trade down into the teens, then possibly all 5 of those players might be off the board. Think about it that way. That's not that fun of a thing to think about. This was wow. So our guy Marsh was live tweeting comments from Canes players this morning that spoke after spring practice. This one really makes you think. So Charleston Rambo, who just transferred in from Oklahoma, the wide receiver. Now, guys, I think Charleston Rambo is going to be like an even greater version of what KJ Osborne was a couple of years ago. I think Charleston Rambo is going to be awesome on the field, and we may never fully understand how much he does off the field because coming from, Oklahoma's football culture, I think he's going to become a leader in the locker room as well. And Charleston Rambo said today, I saw this quote from our guy Marsh, when I got here, there was a lot of things in the receiver room that we didn't do that we're doing now. A couple ways I look at that. Number one, pretty obvious, Miami's receiver room, there was some laziness there. Mike Harley alerted us to some of that. You remember around midseason last year, Mike Harley, who was, one of the elder statesmen, and he's still in the receiver room now, he even said, guys, we're all guilty of this. We're not putting in the work beyond practice, that we're not studying during the week. We're not doing enough workouts on our own. We're not putting in enough of the work, and they tried to change it. So obviously there have been some cultural issues in the wide receiver room. And I'm hoping Charleston Rambo is coming in and heads are going to roll if they don't do what this guy says. Like, I'm hoping he becomes a leader because he came from a culture in Oklahoma where, Lincoln Riley was running a tight ship there, and you obviously saw great production out of the receiver room, and he's going to try to bring that to Miami. So I hate the fact that we even have to have a conversation about players at the U not putting in the work. That's been the reality in recent years, though. I don't know who you blame most for that culture. Does it go all the way back to the later years of Coker? Do we blame Randy Shannon for some of that? Do we just blame all of it on Al Golden because the guy was a dumpster fire of a head coach? Mark Richt, does he get any blame for that? Why is it still happening under Manny Diaz? I don't know. I don't know who to blame for this lack of culture in the Miami Hurricanes locker room. And I'm hoping that, Diaz, I'm hoping, is putting out some of these fires. And then when you can bring in a player like Charleston Rambo, I hope he's taking a good hard look at what's happening in that receivers room. And he's going to make sure there's more accountability there. So I think that's it's a cool quote, but it's also an alarming quote. When I got here, there was a lot of things in the receiver room that we didn't do that we're doing now. So these guys are, I would imagine that means they're now being a lot more meticulous in their preparation. They're being more engaged in the receiver room. They're asking more questions. They're putting in more work out of practice. They're really studying and really working out, trying to get better. I hope that's the case, because I do not like to hear about guys wearing that U on their jersey and on their helmet, not putting in 100% effort. By the way, speaking of our pal Marsh, he wrote a piece in stateoftheu.com, and I love it. I feel like he and I share a brain sometimes. Tyler Van Dyke may have been the most impressive during spring practice. I've been saying that. I've been saying that for weeks, guys, and even a couple of the people that I've had on to talk Hurricanes football with me have downplayed that a little bit. I look at the work Van Dyke has been putting in, the numbers that he's been putting up in the scrimmages, and the way his teammates are talking about him. To me, he's been the MVP of spring. And this guy, he wanted to make damn sure people are not forgetting about him. Because when Jake Garcia committed a few months ago, because he was the more highly touted guy coming out of high school than Van Dyke was, we all kind of turned our attention away. Like, Van Dyke was like the old car, and now Jake Garcia is the new Maserati you get to drive off the lot. And Tyler Van Dyke, though, has done nothing since then except show people he wants to be the future quarterback at the University of Miami. Like, he wants to be the future quarterback one. And a great way to start that process would be cementing yourself as the backup. He's got built-in advantages there. Jake Garcia could very well end up being the quarterback of the future, but Tyler Van Dyke is going to make him take that job out of his cold, dead hands, and I appreciate that out of TVD. Because and listen, Van Dyke, he's had advantages here. He's been in the offense for an extra year. He was in the program last year, redshirted. Whereas Garcia straight out of high school now, early enrollee. So, Van Dyke had a big head start. He's also a little bit older. He's a year older, so his body's a little bit more ready to play at this level. And Garcia did come in a little bit banged up from the end of his high school career, so he's had to be brought on a little bit more slowly. But all Van Dyke has done is take advantage of that opportunity, and I just love to hear about it, man. Marsh writes in State of the U, everything we've heard about him has been very positive, and the reviews that the players and coaches are giving him gets me excited about the future. This spring has given Van Dyke more confidence as he's getting most of the reps with the first-team offense, and that kind of experience is going to help him immensely going forward. In Miami's first scrimmage of the spring, Van Dyke went 10 for 15, 114 yards, 1 touchdown. In the second scrimmage this past Friday, TVD improved, going 13 for 17 for 190 yards and 3 touchdowns. What's impressed me so much about Van Dyke is the way he carries himself. He doesn't necessarily have the swag of the other quarterbacks, but he's a leader, and he leads by example, and that's the most important thing to me. Ken Dorsey didn't have swag. Just saying, you don't need to be loud as a quarterback. You don't need to have all the glitz and glamour. You just need to be a commander out there, and Van Dijk gives off those vibes. So I love that. And I'm not among those that thinks there's some, dark secret like De'Aaron King is not going to be ready to play. I think he is going to be ready to play, De'Aaron King. I think this is King's year, right? I know that a lot of us felt terrible. Of course you felt terrible when he injured his knee in the bowl game against Oklahoma State. You're like, oh no, did he make a mistake coming back for the year? Is he going to be injured for the whole season? He's smashing his rehab. He's absolutely smashing it. He's cleared every hurdle. He's ahead of schedule. He's going to be ready to go, I think, for fall camp. So this is going to be De'Aaron King's year coming up. But Van Dijk has a chance to cement himself as the backup, and you hope you don't see your backup too much, right? You hope you only have to use your backup in blowout wins, because I don't want there to be blowout losses. Alabama's a possibility for a blowout loss, but I don't want those. I don't want North Carolina to clown us again like they did last year. I don't want anything like that to happen. So I hope we see Van Dijk sparingly, unless it's blowout victories this coming year. But I think he's going to end up being the backup quarterback. Rosendo asked me, have you ever gotten a Turkish bath? Can you tell me more about that? Is that like a hot springs type of thing, a Turkish bath? That's like a spa thing, right? No, I've not. The closest I ever came to that was, this was like a weird cultural experience. So when we went to Japan a few years ago, this was like 4 summers ago before my son was born, my wife and I went to Japan, and we were on like a tour, and I'm glad. Like, I know that, you go on a tour, it sounds really corny and stuff to be like with a tour group. I'm glad we did it that way, because Asia is so different culturally from everything we know here. Like, I felt good being in a tour, because I knew I wasn't going to commit any terrible faux pas, right? Because I know how to behave in this country, and I know how to behave in Europe, because I've got family from there, so I kind of have an idea of like what they expect from you culturally, especially in Italy, but even in France and Germany and Austria, I kind of know how to behave there. I would have had no clue how to behave properly in Japan. It's so different, and very few people there speak English. Like, if you've ever been to Europe, I mean, obviously the UK, because that's the first language, but if you go to like other parts of Western Europe, you'll find that you can find, especially in the bigger cities, the majority of the people you encounter can speak enough English to interact with you. I found that not to be the case in Japan. You do a lot of pointing and like guessing, because they're just a big thing. But for a few days when we were in Japan, we went to what they call an onsen, a hot springs hotel. And it's like none of it's co-ed. So you're just like the dudes are with the dudes, the ladies are with the ladies. Like, it's not like they don't have any of the stuff like some. You go to Europe and sometimes you'll have like the weird like hot springs things where it's like co-ed. Like, you'll be like a dude in there, you got to go naked. There's like naked women in there, and it's weird. I don't know, it's kind of strange. But in Japan, none of it's co-ed. So you have to go to these like hot springs. And I had the most annoying experience there, Alex, because it's very like the protocols of getting into the Japanese hot springs bath. It's like very specific. Like, you put your stuff in the locker room, and then before you get into like the springs, you have to do this like public shower thing. Like, you have to like shower yourself down before you can't go into the spring without showering, because then you're gonna like dirty and sully the spring. And so, like, I put my stuff in the locker. I gave myself, like, an abnormally long shower, because I didn't want to, like, disrespect an entire country by getting into their hot spring dirty. And I happened to be the only person in the shower room at this time. And then I realized, like, God damn it, after I'd given myself, like, a 7-minute shower, I realized I left my towel in the locker, and you have to have your towel. So after doing like the 7-minute shower, I was the only person there at the time. I thought, okay, I'm going to run back into the locker room. I'm going to get my towel, and then I'm going to get into the hot spring, because I've already done the shower. But I go into the locker room and I grab the towel, and then I come out of the locker room, and there's 2 dudes in the showers. And then I realize these Japanese men, if they see me get right into the hot spring, they don't know that I've showered already. So they're going to think I'm some white dude sullying their hot spring. So I had to do like another shower. And then I realized I left my locker key in the locker room. So I had to go back and grab my locker key. And then when I get back to the shower area, there's a new dude in the shower. He can't see me get right to the... I had to take 3 showers because I kept forgetting stuff in the locker room. I had like an hour to go into this hot spring. I spent 45 minutes of it in the shower. It was crazy. I just felt it was like something out of a movie. I had to take 3 showers because every time I went back into the locker room, there was a new person in the shower area, and I didn't want them to think I was skipping the shower because that could get you kicked out of the spa.
I'm laughing so much. It sounds like a skit. It sounds straight out
Yeah,
of a movie.
seriously. It's like every time I thought, I'm just going to sneak back into the locker room. I've already showered. I'm clean. But, there's a new person in the shower. They don't know I'm clean.
Oh, my. I've never heard of anything like that. That's funny as hell.
Rosendo writes in, a Turkish bath is a cleansing or relaxing treatment that involves a period of time spent sitting in a room filled with very hot air or steam, generally followed by washing and massage. All right. It actually sounds very relaxing. Sounds very nice. 844-416-8123. All right, we're going to continue here until 6 o'clock on Man of the Match on Onside Radio. Hey, Sundays at 9 a.m., join our pal Juan Cardona. He dominates the airwaves with Juan on Juan. From sneakers to video games to your favorite South Florida sports team, tune in every Sunday to Juan on Juan, exclusively on the home for sports talk in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
The Man of the Match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter-Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
It's a busy night for South Florida sports as the Miami Marlins beat the Atlanta Braves 5-3 in 10 innings. Garrett Cooper had 3 RBIs and drove in the go-ahead run in the 10th inning. Yimi Garcia picked up the win. Game 2 of the series is tonight at 7:20. Pablo Lopez will be the starting pitcher for your Miami Marlins. Miami Heat are back in action tonight, taking on the Phoenix Suns, who are on the second game of a back-to-back after beating the Houston Rockets 126-120. Tip-off is at 10. Florida Panthers are also back on the ice against the Dallas Stars tonight. Puck drops at 8:30. Dallas won on Saturday 4-1. Yesterday, the Panthers acquired forward Sam Bennett from the Calgary Flames, sending a 2022 second-round pick and a 2020 second-round pick. Seth Curry dropped 53 points in a 116-107 win, passing Wilt Chamberlain as the all-time points leader in Golden State Warriors history. Also during the game, Jamal Murray went down with an injured left knee. An MRI revealed a torn ACL. With your Onside Sports update, I'm Alex Aguirre, and coming up, it's more of Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
I was just going back and forth with Kai Chen Chisholm on Twitter. Kai does an awesome job, 10 a.m. till noon every day. He hosts Kai's Corner here on Onside Radio. He's obviously bummed. He's a big Bayern supporter, and they did not advance. They got eliminated in Champions League by PSG today. They did win the game, Bayern 1-0, but they needed another goal. They needed a 2-0 to advance because PSG beat them 3-2 in Munich in the first leg. So the 3 away goals there were the tiebreaker on aggregate. So Bayern needed another goal. They did not get it. And Kai, I actually bet on Bayern both legs. So I won today. I lost on them last week. Kai says, anyways, I blame at Alex Donno for betting on Bayern. And you know what? He's probably right to do that. I'm a mush, and I know it. Here's my trick, Alex. I know I'm a mush, so I do not bet on my own teams. Very rarely. There's been a few times where I bet on or even against the Miami Heat. I think part of the reason why I'm a little bit okay doing that is because regular season basketball is just so worthless anyway, right? But, you know, I don't bet on or against Inter Miami ever. I do not want to mush them. I do not bet on or against Inter Milan, and they're on an 11-game winning streak, so they're doing something right without me. I'm doing something right by not betting on them, okay? I try to avoid betting on the Florida Panthers, but again, regular season hockey, it's kind of like regular season basketball. I've actually bet on the Marlins a couple times, and I've never won a bet on them. I've mushed them, I guess. So it's, yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised that they let you down with your bets. You know, it's the Marlins.
I bet on them opening day against the Rays. I lost that one. Like, I recently bet, like, I think an over, like, on the run total for a Marlins game, and I lost that. So, yeah, I've not had a good time. And last season, I bet on the Marlins once, and I lost. So I've not had a good track record betting on baseball. I'm like,
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to bet with baseball because, you know, the Marlins, like, for example, with their scoring drought, it's hard to gauge, and all of a sudden they can, like, in 1 week score a total of 5 runs, and then the following week their offense can explode with 5 runs in 5 games, like, per game, you know. So it's hard to bet in baseball. I can definitely see that.
Yeah, and so Kai wrote to me. He says, anyways, I blame Alex Donno for betting on Bayern. And I responded, I won my bet, though, because I did. Like, they didn't advance, but I won my money line bet today because they won the game today. Then he writes back, I hate you. And then I wrote back, I love you. Oh, my God. And another betting question. I saw our friends at Biscayne Bay Brew. They tweeted out earlier today, what are the odds that both the Marlins and the Heat win tonight? I could actually tell you exactly what the odds are. If I were to parlay a Heat victory against the Suns, the Heat are I think they're like plus 150 on the money line, and a Marlins victory against Atlanta, they're plus 141. If I were to parlay those, plus 478 would be the odds of both the Marlins and the Heat winning tonight. Am I crazy enough to lock in that parlay? It's not bad. I mean, if I bet a few bucks, I can make a big return on that. If I bet like $3, I win like 13, 14 bucks on that. It's not going to happen, though, is the thing. I don't know. What do you think, Alex? You think the Marlins can get it done? Because I think the Heat could
What's the
get
line?
it done. So the Marlins tonight, plus 141 is the money line, or they're a run and a half underdog. The Braves are, and pretty much all the baseball lines are always 1.5, so that it's like hockey in that. So they're a 1.5 run underdog and plus 141 on the money line. So they are the underdog tonight.
For sure, the Braves, they have their ace on the mound, Max Fried. The Marlins are going into the game with an all right-handed hitting lineup because Max is a lefty. The last time though, the Marlins did an all right-handed hitting lineup was against Max Fried, and Max Fried tossed 6 1/3 scoreless innings.
Oh, geez.
So this might be a rough night for the Fish. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's my piece of advice in terms of how you're going to place your bets.
Just my track record betting baseball is so bad. I don't even want to risk it. Even like Lee Sterling has given me 2 or 3 baseball bets, and I've lost those as well. And he's really good. Like he's a professional. He's been killing it in the UFC. Like he went 5-0 last weekend in the UFC, and then a few weeks ago he had a 6-0 card. So he has been absolutely murdering his UFC picks. And I think I'm even like 0-3 in baseball. I might be the only gambler in history who's never won a baseball bet. I must be like 0 for 8 or 0 for 9 or something. I don't bet baseball very often, but when I do, I always lose. 844-416-8123 is how you reach us. That's 844-416-8123. Going to close up this episode on the other side. Things continue to get hot and heavy in the saga between Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. Are they actually going to fight this summer? We'll discuss when we come back here on Onside Radio. Hey, Florida Panthers fans have a place to call home every Saturday morning as Cats insider David Dwork will host Tripping the Cats Radio every Saturday at 10 a.m. Onside Radio is committed to all sports, and Panthers fans can now connect every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. with David Dwork on the home for Panthers fans worldwide, onsideradio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnSideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
You know, I'm really not that interested in Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury in boxing. We know how that's going to go. Ngannou is an excellent puncher in mixed martial arts, hardest puncher I've ever seen in that sport. I think scientifically he's the hardest puncher we've ever seen in that sport. I don't expect him in the ring to be able to outbox Tyson Fury. I don't think it's close. Now, if you put Fury in the octagon, Ngannou is going to murder him. You put Ngannou in the ring against Fury in boxing, Fury's going to win easily. It's just as simple as that to me. Now, you know, if sometime down the road they want to do this as a special attraction, you know, try and recreate the financial success of Mayweather versus McGregor from a few years ago, knock yourself out. I just don't want to see Ngannou take a fight like this before he fights John Jones in the octagon, because that needs to happen. And that's an incredible fight. Ngannou versus Jones in the octagon. They're both two of the best mixed martial. I mean, especially Jones. I'm not even going to compare Ngannou to Jones right now because Jones has had the better, longer career. Although Jones moving up to heavyweight, Ngannou would and should be favored in that fight because he is so big and so strong. You know, Jones naturally fights at a lighter weight and has been dominant at light heavyweight. But that to me, we need to make sure we don't get distracted from that fight. The UFC needs to step up and pay Jones what he needs. You know, if he wants a $15 million fight purse or a $20 million fight purse for that fight, you give him that money and you give Francis similar money. You're going to make it back because that fight's going to be gigantic, and it's a fight we all need to see. So sack up and pay these guys what they deserve, because I don't want to see Ngannou get distracted and go box Tyson Fury, because it's not compelling, right? I mean, you're going to want to watch it because it's like a train wreck, but Ngannou boxing Tyson Fury, it's not really a fight. We know how that's going to go. It's so one-sided. You know, even if Fury carries him for a couple rounds the way that Mayweather did with McGregor, we all know how that's going to end, man. It's not what I need to see. I also hope we end up seeing McGregor versus Poirier. I guess Poirier's name should have top billing because he won the last fight. Poirier versus McGregor, the trilogy fight, I hope happens this summer. It was supposed to happen July 10th. It has not been officially announced by the UFC, and now McGregor is claiming he's not going to fight Poirier. He's upset about this little back and forth they're having about the charity money. And, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I can understand, like, if McGregor had every plan of making the donation that he promised, which was $500,000 to Poirier's foundation, to help children, great cause, I'm sure. If he really was still planning to follow through on that, 3 months after agreeing to it, then I get why he would be pissed for Poirier to call him out on it, right? Because Poirier is implying McGregor stiffed him, like he promised to make a charitable donation and didn't follow through on it. Those are fighting words, or I guess in McGregor's case, those are words that I'm going to take the fight away from you now. Because McGregor was claiming, hey, no, we wanted to do it, but you guys didn't give us a detailed plan on where the money's going, so we're not going to follow through until you give us a good plan on where the money's going. So it's a whole back and forth. And McGregor got so upset about Poirier for accusing him of stiffing the payment that McGregor now says, he tweeted out, looking to start the foundations of a good fight, you guys. Who's in? McGregor versus ? Now, the whole thing, looking to start the foundations, that's obviously a dig at Poirier's foundation. It's kind of funny. And he's gotten a lot of takers. Michael Chandler, former Bellator champ, who's now in the UFC, said, May 15th and July 10th, book it, back-to-back. Rafael Dos Anjos. The backstory on this is great. He writes, Red Panty Night. You remember years ago when McGregor was supposed to fight Dos Anjos, McGregor, said that, hey, for you, this is the biggest night of your life. It's like Red Panty Night. Your wife says, oh, we're going to bust out the red panties. You're going to make all this money. It's huge. That's a great reference. Kevin Lee says, let me fight this bitch. I can be ready July 10th. Michael Johnson, I know a guy who can fight on July 10th, and I won't wrestle you, he says. Oh, man. So, yeah, you've had a lot of takers there. But you know what? Any of those guys who step up there, Michael Johnson, Kevin Lee, Rafael Dos Anjos, Michael Chandler, I'd rather see Poirier. I want to see if Poirier can beat him again, can take 2 out of 3. I think he absolutely can. The question is, will he? So, yeah, that's interesting. 844-416-8123 is the number. That's 844-416-8123. Andy in Scotland says, I love Japan. I think many of them can speak good English but are too shy or too afraid to make a mistake. That could be. I can understand that. I know that, like, in their culture, it's like if you can't do it perfectly, you may not want to try it. I can understand that. Rosendo Marco says, I love Japanese culture. I just finished watching Tora, Tora, Tora. I've seen that. It's about the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. It's from the perspective of both the Americans and the Japanese. I did watch that way back in the day. Andy's asking if he watched Letters from Iwo Jima. I have not watched that. I don't know if Rosendo has. So yeah, it's interesting. So the great Clint Eastwood. Did he direct that film? Tora, Tora, Tora? Or am I thinking of something else? Whatever it is, that's gonna about do it for us tonight. Huge thank you to Alex Aguirre for doing awesome work as always. Huge thanks to Tito Benach, of course, who's back from his trip. Even though he didn't have any barbecue, we can forgive him for that. So remember, 3 more days of shows in the countdown before Inter Miami CF's home opener, season opener. That's going to be this Sunday right here in this stadium, Drive Pink Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to have plenty of Inter Miami talk to preview the opener over the next few days. We'll have plenty more draft talk as well. I can promise you that. So we have a lot to come. Huge thanks to Alex Toledo for joining us today from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Big thanks to George Richards from Florida Hockey Now joining us to talk a little Florida Panthers. And a huge thank you to everybody listening. Marla in the chat, Andy, Rosendo, Rafa, Tony 2 times, Herman, Bromar. I feel bad. I don't want to leave anybody out. And to everyone else who's been listening, because I'm sure there are way too many to name, we appreciate you guys. We will talk to you again tomorrow right here on the only locally owned sports station in South Florida. We are OnsideRadio.com.
OnsideRadio.com knows gamers need a home.
Can you dig it?
That's why for the next 60 seconds,
Can you count, suckers?
here's your Onside Radio E-Report with Toast.
Sony is upsetting PlayStation owners in a bizarre story. MLB The Show, the long-running baseball video game, will finally appear on the Xbox platform. Sony claims this wasn't their call, but Major League Baseball's decision to switch platforms to open them up to new gamers. Switching platforms isn't a big deal, but what has really pissed off PlayStation owners is that MLB The Show will be available to Xbox Game Pass members for free, while PlayStation owners will have to pay $70 for the title. PlayStation has an equivalent to the Xbox Game Pass. It's called PlayStation Plus, but they've never made MLB The Show available only to PlayStation Plus members over the years. You had to buy the game, and that's what has a legion of PlayStation owners cursing out Sony today. Happy gaming.
Stay in touch in the world of gaming with the Onside Radio E-Report. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at